Hey guys, this is WalterFootball.com After Dark show for May 12th, 2024. We're going to be talking about just some random stuff tonight, stuff that comes up, teams to bet. Some of our futures have gone kaput, but maybe there's some good ones out there. So Tom and I, we always discuss potential good bets in all sports. So we're going to be discussing that. And basically anything that comes up, as you guys know, the show can go in any direction at any point, which is always so much fun. Before we get to the introductions, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. We have a couple of new t-shirts in the merch store, including the money laundering t-shirt, as you can see here. Note the color scheme. That is picked very carefully in that order, so you guys can maybe guess what that means. Also, we have in my new book, Jerks of the College Years. If you guys want to help support the show, this is another way. This is available on Amazon. It's basically Jerks of the Week, but of all my stories from college. I spent 6 years at Penn State, so as you can imagine, I had a lot of crazy experiences, and Tom can attest to that because he lived right next door to me during one of my years there. So. Tom knew of some of the jerks in these books, so definitely pick this up if you want a good laugh and you like Jerks of the Week, you'll like it. Also, if you really want to help support the show, there's super chats, super stickers. I mention this all the time. YouTube ads pay nothing. The last time we had a show with no YouTube ads, we made 73 cents, which apparently I haven't visited McDonald's yet. I told Kenny I was going to do it. I haven't done it yet, so my bad. But we had this argument on Wednesday about how much a McDonald's cheeseburger is at this moment, because back when I was in high school, it was 49 cents for hamburgers, 59 cents for a cheeseburger, to date myself. Now, yeah, it was great. But now my dentist was saying that cheeseburgers at McDonald's are $12. I'm like, that can't be right. So and Kenny was like, yeah, no way. But maybe my dentist is correct and we're both wrong. So I'm gonna go one day. I'm just gonna get a cheeseburger and nothing else and see how much it costs me. But I think it does vary from state to state. So the whole point is these YouTube ads pay nothing. We can't even afford a cheeseburger at McDonald's with how much they pay. So please consider contributing in any form. We had a slew with $2.22 and John Sanders with $2 on Thursday, and you guys have been awesome. Also, Degeneron, Germ, Kevin Kovac, you guys have been so great. Just really appreciate it. So any help you can throw our way would be appreciated. And also just leave a comment. Any topic we'll answer. So you guys know how we do it. Mike, how are you? And we're joined by Tom QuackyT. Tom, how are you? How have you been this past week?
Oh, geez, I'm doing great, Walt. You're telling me that you got an approved McDonald's visit from your dentist? Wow, that's a coveted, gift there, my friend. I'm surprised. I don't know. I don't think I've eaten a regular cheeseburger or hamburger from McDonald's since I was 9, getting Happy Meals. I always go for the double cheeseburger if you're going to go there. I don't know. That's not true. I think I did get a regular cheeseburger maybe within the last 5 years.
So I used to swim competitively in high school and college, and as you can imagine, I burned a lot of calories, and so I would always go to these fast food joints, and if I went to McDonald's, I would get 4 cheeseburgers, large fries, and chicken nuggets, and I would just down everything. Now I'm a slow eater, so it would take me 2 hours to finish this meal, but still, I would eat so much, and I'd be fine. 2 hours later, I'd be hungry again. That's how many calories I burn. So I used to go to McDonald's all the time, but not recently. I actually went to get an Egg McMuffin, I would say about a month ago, maybe, just because I was up early and I was driving around and I was starving. So I love Egg McMuffins, but I haven't had a cheeseburger from McDonald's either it's been a while. So I am looking forward to it. We'll see. I'm interested to see if my dentist. This is a new dentist I had because my old dentist retired, and so this guy took over our practice. He seems like a good guy so far. He's done a good job. My mouth requires a ton of attention. I've had two teeth extractions, and I need a third one. But he's done a good job so far. Although I will say, I've never encountered this with any dentist or doctor or whatever. Every single appointment I make, for example, it'll be like Wednesday, 2:00, right? The day before, I'll get a call from his office, be like, "Hey, we noticed that you have an appointment Wednesday at 2:00. Can you come in at noon?" If that happens like once in a while, I get it, right? This is every single appointment I make at this time,
Really?
every single time, like without fail. And
Oh
sometimes I'm
my
like, "No, I can't do that," and they're like, "Okay, we'll see you too." I'm like, "Okay, um, yeah, right." But sometimes I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I can do it." That's like the only thing that bothers me about the census. But he's like I said, he seems like a good guy. He seems like he knows what he's doing. But I don't know
You should
why
get
they
the
need to keep rescheduling me.
you should get the flexible patient award as
Sure.
well there. You
Yeah.
get, hey, speaking of fast food, have you seen like these Chick-fil-A commercials? Like, here's the thing. Here's where I stand on Chick-fil-A. Like, I think the food's good, but there's like people lining up around the block for it, and like they have an employee there directing traffic in the parking lot. I mean, like it's good, but it's not that good. Like to me, certainly wouldn't wait that long. I guess the trade-off is that like they're known for quick and friendly service, so there's that. But like no way would I wait around the block for that. But anyway, I was thinking about him because I see the ads when I'm watching Game of Thrones, here on Max or HBO. Well, it's called Max now, just not HBO Max. And they have these Chick-fil-A commercials where it's like customer testimonials. Have you heard this? These are some of the dumbest commercials I've ever heard. And let me tell you why. It's like, "Hi, my name's Jim from Cow Pass, Indiana." And he's like, "I like the Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich because of the chicken." It's like, yeah, no kidding, dude. Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like that's what. Like, I don't know. It's just like this, like because like that's the whole restaurant is for chicken. Like, obviously, that's why we're there. I guess I don't know. Maybe not.
Hi, my name is Billy Bob from Arkansas. My
Yeah.
goat died one day, and I was sad, so I went to Chick-fil-A, and it cheered me up.
Yeah. It's just like I don't know. There's just like something like clunky about the delivery of it.
Mhm.
I always thought those were strange commercials. Oh, I've got something for you. I can't believe I saw this. I was working and I went into like an office building that has like like some of those office buildings have like little cafes on the first floor. So I went in there to grab like a little snack. You're not going to believe what I saw. Mallow Cup. Do you remember Mallow Cup? It's like the most disgusting candy. It's like a Reese's peanut butter cup shape, but instead of peanut butter in it, it's got marshmallow. It's in that image, like you can't mistake the packaging. It's that yellow and red and black. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely, not really. I don't like it. It sounds like something I've heard of. Like I heard the name before, but I can't just picture it. Maybe I'll Google it, but
Yeah, bring it. It's Mallo, Mallow Cup. It'll pop right up on image search. It's like bright yellow.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this before. I've never had one though.
Oh, don't. It's hard. I mean, unless I guess some people really like marshmallow, but I think it's weird because it looks exactly like a Reese's peanut butter cup, except it doesn't. Except it's missing the best part. Oh, it's just it's a weird candy.
What's the best part of Reese's peanut butter?
The peanut butter. Well, not the. Like the peanut butter is way better than I think the marshmallow like in the chocolate is disgusting. I don't know. Like there's just something weird about it. It's one of my least favorite candy. That and circus peanuts.
I'm like, I think I'm the only person I feel. Oh, I'm sure there are others, but I don't like peanut butter at all. So really? I'm anti Reese's peanut butter cups. I just can't eat them.
Really?
Yeah, so Mallow Cup sounds better. It sounds like an upgrade for me, at least. I know I'm in the minority. I also, I also don't drink coffee either. Like people are like, "You don't drink coffee? How do you survive?" I'm like, just not drinking coffee. Like I don't know. I never liked this kind of stuff, so I never went with it.
I never really did either. Sometimes, like if I'm trying to be healthy, like I'll go to Wawa and I'll get like a coffee and a banana for breakfast, like every day. But it's just kind of like a root. I don't know. Like people, how some people are like, oh, like don't like try to be like the pretentious folks, like don't even try to talk to me before I've had my coffee. It's like, bro, like chill out, But I've never had like coffee and felt energized. Does that happen to people? I think I want to join in the fun. People are crazy about it, I just never got it.
Isn't it the whole point of drinking coffee? Like, why are you getting coffee if it doesn't energize you?
Well, because I believe that one day I could be part of it. I don't want to give up hope. Like maybe one day, like something will change in my biological, I don't know, internal makeup, and I'll be like, whoa, like finally, like I feel it.
Oh
I
man,
don't know. Like I'm the only person. I don't know anyone else that has that problem.
I feel like this is very surprising to me because you always struck me as someone who doesn't go with the flow and is contrarian and just does
I
things
am.
his own way. But like in this one instance, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna do what everyone else does, even though it doesn't benefit me.
But here's the thing. It's streaky. It's in phases. Like I'll do it for like 2 months and then I'll stop
Okay.
because it's just like a routine. I don't know, but I guess I just hope like maybe if I don't drink coffee for a while and then I try it again, like maybe I'll be like less, like my threshold will be lower, and I could really feel like one time. Okay, so one time I went to Starbucks and I literally said I told them I was like, I don't care how much it costs. Like I want like a cold brew, like the strongest thing you can think of. I don't know all the fancy names, the macchiatos and the whatever, but I mean I know I'm familiar with some of them, but. So I just remember the guy said he handed me I think I paid like 10 or 12 bucks for it like 6 years ago. And I didn't care because this was an experiment for me. And he just handed it to me. He's like, if you don't feel anything from this, he's like, I don't think you ever will. Because I explained to them my issue. It was like coffee therapy for me. And I drank it. I will say in that moment, I felt like a little something, but it was not that much. So I don't know. I'm still holding out hope though.
So you keep buying coffee every day.
Well, maybe I'm not drinking it right or something.
I don't know. I mean, there's how many ways are there to drink coffee?
Well, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, but you wouldn't know that, you peanut butter snob.
Yeah, just don't drink, don't eat Reese's. That's like the best way.
What did you do? That's like I feel like the most popular candies. Okay, one of these three is going to be in someone's like in most people's top three, like the regular Hershey's bars, Snickers, and the Reese's peanut butter cups. I feel like everyone really likes at least one of those.
Oh yeah, I would think so. I was when I was in middle school. This wasn't a nickname my friends came up with. It was my teacher, my science teacher. He called me the Snickers King because we used to play this game called Buzz, which I'm sure you probably heard of it. It's like you start counting, and you're usually in a large group. You go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You start from 1, and whenever you encounter a number that is a multiple of 7 or it contains 7 in it, you say Buzz instead. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Buzz, 8, 9, 10, 11, and you keep going, and you keep going to see, you keep going forever until. And once you get to the 70s, it's kind of chaotic because you got to keep track of the buzzes.
Right.
But usually we wouldn't get that high. We're 13 years old. A lot of the kids would get stumped in the 30s. But I no joke, I would win every single time. In fact, I only lost once, and it was the day I got my braces in, and like I was just kind of like so tired, and I got stumped on one number, but I won every other time. And so he called me the Snickers King because the prize was just a large Snickers bar. So I'd win it every time. I used to have it for lunch. We do this like every Tuesday, every Wednesday or something. I would win it every time. So every Wednesday, whatever day it was, I would have a Snickers bar for lunch. Yeah. So Mr. Robinson, I don't know if he's still alive. He was like in his 50s back then. If you're listening, hey, I remember being called the Snickers King and enjoying all the Snickers.
Wow. So like, how many times do you think you contend that you never lost?
I only lost once when I had my braces put in. But yeah,
okay.
We must have played every week, except for like the first week of the semester or something, or school year. It wasn't semester. So, how many weeks in a school year? Probably 35. So
you contend that you were like 29-1 or better,
something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean anyone from my class will confirm this. Even lost counting game stories involve dental procedures. Yeah. Maybe this is why I have these dental problems because I used to always use stickers.
Yeah. It was the same dentist that told him to go get the McDonald's hamburgers.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, you know, do you remember that game 20 was it 21 or 24? I can't even
21.
remember, but I was really good at it. Like you would tap
21,
in.
right? You would flip two
Yeah.
numbers to start, right? You would flip it was it 21 and 14 you used to flip?
Well, you
Or
could be like, okay, like 7 minus 2 is 5 times 2 is 10 divided by 5 is 2. Like you had to like take the numbers and find a way to like a
oh no,
path to get to.
I'm thinking something else.
Yeah.
We used to play a drinking game called 21, and you used to just sit in a circle and you count to 21. Except the first rule was instead of saying 14, you have to say 21. Instead of 21, you say 14. But the person who reaches 21, or if you lose, if you say the wrong number, you're out. If the person who reaches 21 makes a rule for a new number. So like the first run through is easy, but like once the first person hits 21, they're like, okay, instead of 13, you have to bark like a dog, and then you just keep adding rules as you keep going, and then it gets crazy, and then that was always a fun game. So
that is a good one. That is a good one. I made up remember that board game Operation with like the guy with the red nose?
Hated it.
I made up back in my drinking heyday. I made up a drinking game with Operation. It was called Malpractice. And it's like you just sit in a circle, you pull the card, the dollar amounts don't matter. Whatever bone it says, you go for it. If you pull the bone, everyone else drinks. If you buzz it, then you drink. Okay. It was a real hit. We called it Malpractice. Dave and I, my roommate, we invented Malpractice.
I was the worst at Operation. I hated that game so much. I don't think I ever got a body part out of the machine ever without like hitting the alarm.
There were a few. Yeah, you love Jenga, right? You said
this is like the same level of Jenga. Like I can't handle Jenga. I can't be in the same room with Jenga being played. I get so stressed out of it falling. I don't care if it actually falls, but like the prospect of it falling, just like
the anticipation of it all.
Right, I can't do it, and it's the same thing with Operation. Like the thing buzzing off, I just can't do it. I don't know. I have to like excuse myself
because like remember like the writer's cramp.
No, yeah.
That was the hardest one to get because it was like real thin. You could hardly ever get it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was water on the knee. Operation, a whole bucket. You see, like remember all the I love all the jingles from the board games back in the day. Remember, go for it, Connect 4. Go for what? It's just like game where you drop the checkers. Like, what are we going for here?
I know. Oh, those games are so fun. I was actually talking today about Monopoly. Like Elon Musk tweeted something about Monopoly, how the even the game states like if the bank runs out of money that you make notes creating more money. And he's like, hey, this is like the Federal Reserve. And I replied, I'm like, they should make a new Monopoly game where you have teammates instead of like going against each other, where you're playing against the bank and the bank is the Federal Reserve, and like they try to screw you over with high inflation and interest rates. And then Slew responded, and he's like, and then if you speak out against the bank, the FBI comes against you. So that was pretty funny. Slew asking, did Walt ever offer Quacky some Russian candy? That's a reference to my book where for some reason Russian chewing can or like it's like we had Jolly Ranchers here. Like Russians have wrappers with like umbrellas on them or like gold coins or shrimp, and I'm like. There's the ones I talked about in my book, and I was at my grandparents. I was like seeing them off, or like saying goodbye to them before going up to Penn State for a semester. And like my grandpa offered me some candy. It had like these weird like things on them, the things on the wrappers, like shrimp and gold coins. I'm like I don't want this. Like, what is this? And he's like, no, it's good. Trust me. I'm like, no, I don't want. Like, what is this shrimp flavored candy? And so he's like, trust me, that's good. And he put one in his mouth, and he's like, it's horrible. So yeah, I read about that in the book. So yeah, good reference there. But yeah, thanks. Slew with a great recommendation with the FBI added to that game. That's something that I want to explore. I think that sounds fun.
Did you, when you played Monopoly, like the free park, if you landed on free parking, was there like money in the middle for you to receive?
Yeah.
I played like the first like 10 years of Monopoly, never doing that, and all of a sudden like that happened. I mean, I'm not like a Monopoly connoisseur, never really have been. In fact, it's a game I try to avoid. I'm not much of a board games player in general, but I don't know. It's Monopoly is a time investment. It can be.
It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be pretty quick. Like the reason why these games take so long, Monopoly, is because people play it wrong. like what people do, and I'm sure like most people listening will be like, what are you talking about? That's not the rules, but it is. You know how like you say you go first, you roll like a 7 or whatever, and you land on Connecticut Avenue, for example.
Chance.
Is that 7? Is that 7 chance?
Yeah.
But what 8 is it? What's it's the
Yeah,
light
8
blue,
or 9.
right?
Whatever.
8 or 9.
Sorry.
I know I have to like actually see this.
Oh, you want to look now? Look at the Monopoly map.
Yes,
The board.
yeah, I am.
Yeah.
So it is when you start, you go 7 is chance, 9 is Connecticut Avenue, so it's close.
Okay.
All right, so say you roll 9, it doesn't matter for this exercise. If you roll a 9, you land on Connecticut Avenue, and you'll have an opportunity to buy it for $120, right? You know, like the deed. But if you don't want to buy it, what do? You just go to the next player, right?
Right.
That's not right. That's incorrect. How the game is supposed to be played is if you don't buy it, it goes to auction, and anyone could buy it. And so like people are supposed to have like all the deeds like very quickly, rather than like, hey, this is an open spot that someone landed on a few times but didn't buy it. Like you're supposed to auction it off every time. And so like people just don't know that, and that's why games take forever. But like you're supposed to accumulate these properties super quickly.
I didn't know. Wait, so like on that turn, so like if you pass on it, like the other players can bid on it, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that until just now. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, most people don't know that. Yeah, it's supposed to play that way.
How do you know so much about Monopoly? Do you work for the FBI?
What's the FBI? The Federal Reserve, you mean? I'll never work for
that. That was. Do you remember? Did you ever have Mousetrap, the board game Mousetrap, as a kid? I never played the game. Because it was like one of those Rube Goldberg machines. Mm-hmm. It's like hit this and then that happens and the ball rolls down, and I just wanted to set up the trap and set the trap off. I never actually played the game.
I played a couple times. It's never my favorite, but it's because like it would never work. Like we tried to set it up, it just never worked. Like something would always go wrong. So I don't know. It's akin to like dominoes, basically, like setting up the dominoes and like
Domino Rally.
Right, and one thing is not going to be in the right spot, and it's going to ruin the whole thing. And then you have to set up everything again. It's just annoying. Sue says you could also add the NSA spying on the joint forces, who then tip off the FBI.
Right. Oh yeah.
This game actually reminds me. There's I don't know if you heard of the game Shadows over Camelot. Did you ever hear that?
I don't think I have.
So it's a game where it's like based on like the Camelot ages, Middle Ages, where you each play a knight. I think there were 6 or 7 possible players. I forget. But this is a co-op game. Like you're all playing against the board, and like every cycle through, you have to like reveal a top card from the library, and every card screws over the entire board. And so like you have like there's all these things happening. Like a card might reveal, oh, this dragon flies in, burns down the village. Like you have to go fight the dragon, and then the next card might be like, oh, there's a flood or something, and like you have to go stop it, and if you don't stop these things, like it'll be game over for everyone. So like it's a huge co-op thing, and like it's really there's really like a dichotomy of people who play it and like either love it or hate it. Like I loved it. It's one of my favorite games. There's people just like don't like the co-op. They just want to play against other people instead of the board. But that kind of reminded me of my Monopoly 2 or 2.0 edition, where you all it's a co-op of people trying to take down the Federal Reserve and FBI. I imagine that the FBI would never allow this game to be made, but it would be fun though.
Well, I have not I haven't not played that one. My cousin as you've seen, I've been streaming Rocket League, which I've been getting pretty decent. That game is so addicting. But my cousin just told me about this game Ark. I've never heard of it, but he just I'm gonna try it out tomorrow. But I don't know. I think it's like back in like dinosaur times or something. Anyhow. We can move on. But
yeah, I never heard of Ark, but yeah, I've been working on Legend of Zelda, the Tears of the Kingdom, and it's funny, like trying to do all these side quests. in this game, and there's a ton. Like these Zelda games that came out recently, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. The world is so huge. Like there's so much to do. It's insane. Like even like stuff that's not like even in the game. Like you can build your own house. You can fish. You can farm. You can go hunting. Like that stuff is just like trivial, really. And like there's all these side quests you can do. There's like hidden caves. There's so many hidden caves in this game. And in addition, like Breath of the Wild, it had the largest world, and like Tears of the Kingdom, they add a dark world. So there's a world underneath it, and it's basically the opposite of the overworld. Like wherever there's a lake in the dark world, it's a mountain. If there's if there's like a stable, where like a lot of horses are around. In the dark world, there's these monsters called Lionels who are half lion, half horse, and they're like super brutal. So it's basically like the opposite of everything in the light world. And so you have to explore that as well. And there's also like sky islands you can explore. So this game takes so much time. And there's like so many like weird things in this game. I thought I found like this cool dungeon because there's actually something beneath the dark world. Like I found another hole in the dark world, and like it started playing like this demonic music. I was like, oh my god, am I in like hell? Like what is this? And like there's like these crazy monsters. Like it's like really there's like a really difficult part in the game. And I'm like, this has to be like a secret dungeon or something. Like, and I kept going through it. And then I kept going, and then I was like, I ran up to a boss called the Demon King. I'm like, wait a second, this is the final boss of the game. I actually beat the game by accident. I wasn't trying to beat it.
Are you serious?
I found like the boss's secret dungeon. Like you have to like figure out where it is. Like using like clues, like trying to figure out where this place is, because it's a small hole in like the dark world. But, like I found it randomly, and I just beat the game without like meaning to. It was pretty funny.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
How long did it, like you probably weren't timing it?
Going through the hell part. I mean, it took a few hours, I guess.
Which is the Zelda that you can beat with what, 3 hearts? Is that Ocarina of Time, or is it Tears of the Kingdom?
Ocarina of Time, which is on N64.
That's incredible. You should stream that.
I don't know if I can do it now. It was I did it in like right after my college days,
But I mean, you could, if you practice for like a week, and it wouldn't even take that. If you like ran through it a couple times for like every day for a week,
yeah,
I bet you could get back there pretty quickly.
Yeah, it was 3 hearts, no fairies. It was I don't know, it was a pretty cool accomplishment. And then I tried to do the same thing in Majora's Mask, and I got halfway through, and then I think I had to move into my new house, and like I just stopped playing for a little bit, and so I just never finished it. But I was about halfway through for Majora's Mask, which is definitely tougher than Ocarina of Time, because I don't know if you're familiar with Majora's Mask, but the whole shtick of that game is that it's like you start on day 1, and by the end of day 3, the world ends because the moon crashes into the planet.
Right.
So you're supposed to like you can travel back in time. And like once you travel back in time, like you have the items you collect. So like for example, like on day 3, you can only get a key on day 3, and so you get the key on day 3, and you go back to day 1, and then you can use the key to go into this new place. So it's a really cool game. So like that element made it difficult, but I think I could have finished that as well with 3 hearts, but I guess you never know, because it does get harder.
You should stream games on the side too, man.
I would like to. I just I don't know. I don't know if I have the time with the kids, and like
but you already have the audience, and like you're definitely like a good gamer. That would definitely draw an audience if you could do that. I bet a week, 2 weeks tops, you could get back to that, beating that with three hearts.
Maybe. I used to play a lot though. I used to play like hours on end. I just don't have the time to do that. Like once in like now that the draft's over, the problem is like when the football season starts, I would have 0 time. I don't play video games during football season. I actually, that's a rule I set for myself, because my thinking is if I'm playing video games during the football season, that's time taken away from possibly handicapping games and like trying to win the super contest and like trying to win bets and trying to win for people like looking at the site. Like I don't know. I just don't want to take that away from myself. And so Like that's my rule. As soon as week 1 starts, there's no video games until the playoffs, and you only have 4 games, So, like by the time January comes around, I can play video games again.
And what happens if you break the rule? Do you make yourself stand in the corner with a dunce cap, or?
Yeah, I have a dunce cap here somewhere. I don't know.
I'm just messing around, but like, well, you know what though? Just to play devil's advocate, maybe it could help you. Like maybe like once every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks or something. Maybe it would be a good like for a couple hours to give your mind a rest.
Maybe, but then if I have like a bad week, I'm like, wait, I could have. What if I missed something?
True.
You're like, oh, I missed this injury, or I missed this angle I could have seen if I wasn't playing video games. I always have that's always a conflict for me.
Right.
I used to play on Saturday nights when all the super contest stuff was submitted and whatnot. But now that I do Rainmakers, that takes up like my Saturday time. So of course I have to.
That's when you're camping out in the Trenton Thunder lot.
Yeah, the Samuel J. Palmieri Jr. Field, as I learned when I went there during the day. I'm like, because I always go there at night. I never see anything, but like I went there during the day during draft week because I wanted to place my bets, and I saw the letters on the stadium. It says Samuel J. Palmieri Jr. Field. I'm like, oh wow, there's actually a field name to this. I had no idea.
Wait, what's his name? His name's Calamari?
Samuel J. Palmieri, Palmeri.
I thought like calamari.
Yeah, Samuel J. Palmieri Field. I think that's how you spell it. I actually don't know who that is. Palmieri Field. Yeah, Palmieri. So there's an I missed. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know who that is or what he did. He died apparently.
How hard would it be for you to become the beat writer for the Trenton Thunder, man?
I don't. For all I know, there could be someone entrenched there. Like for who though? Like I mean, I'm sure there's some newspapers. I don't know.
Like that would be a great storyline. It's like I used to camp out here. Like I first became a Thunder fan back when I was in the parking lot making DraftKings lineups. That would be the public would eat it up. The public loves a feel good story.
What would I do? Quit the site and write about the Trenton Thunder?
I don't know. I'm just messing around.
I don't know.
I mean, articles for a man, or like have like a fan newsletter. Really, bring up, garner attention to the team, and then attendance is up, and now that could be your big break.
I could work for the team as a not a beat writer, but I work for the team as kind of like I don't know, like someone to hype the team and stuff like that on Twitter. I don't know. So,
do you think? I always thought I would make like a good like mascot but I bet that job is really hard. Like I'd like to be the Philly fanatic. Like I think I'd be like animated enough. I mean, I'd probably have to be in better shape, but that's probably a really hard job. What do you think? Yeah, I actually knew the guy who was the Penn State Nittany Lion.
So did I. He had. I mean, obviously they change over the years, but he had like red hair or something like that. Yeah. I forget his name, but I met him through. I met him in my sports writing class, my sports journalism class. He came in and spoke to the class, and we had to write about him. We had to write like 150 word thing on him. I remember my professor was a good guy. He used to. He was so strict about that. He's like 150 words max, nothing more. 150 words. He said it like 10 times. Like okay. So I followed the rules. I actually made it 150 on the dot. And then I remember that like people the next day, like he handed back the papers. He's like, guys, how many times do I have to tell you this? 150 on the dot, not 200, not 175. And like you guys, anyone who did this got enough. He's like,
are you serious?
He's like, I said this 10 times. He's like, because it's important. Because like when I wrote for the newspaper in
State College.
No. The newspaper, Westchester, the Westchester Daily Local. When I worked there, they like that was like my first real newspaper. Well, it was basically it was my second newspaper job, but my other job I had my own column, so it was basically they gave me like a range, but like here when I wrote about like high school sports and stuff like that at Westchester, they're like, yeah, we only have room in our newspaper for this many words. Like they'd be like 450 to 500. Like we can't go more than 500, you know? So
Wow.
I could not go over 500. So like that was just great preparation. Like, because like it's a real thing. Like newspapers, they only have so much space. Now it's different now because like everything's online.
Right.
But yeah, newspapers just can't be like, oh, we asked for 500, you gave us 600. You know, like this is what this is what our professor is trying to like hammer through to us. And
right.
yeah,
Oh,
so
no,
it was important.
Yeah, no, for sure. Wow, and you could hit it right on the dot.
Yeah, I made sure to. And then we had a class called editing, news editing, and like basically by the end of the semester we had to make a whole newspaper. But like one of the first things was like he would give us articles, and they'd be like 600-word articles, and he was like, drop this to 450 words without altering the basically the subject of the article. So we'd have to like cut it down to 600 to 450. And then by the end of it, we had to give stuff like headlines and stuff like that, and like pictures. It was a really cool class.
Oh, that is cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. I love my new major when I changed. It was so great. Not just because we actually had like women in the class for the first time.
Right.
But no, I mean it's stuff I actually like to do. So it was good change, even though it was my
for sure, man. That is really cool. I wonder if they have stuff like that, like paring something down like that. That's a really interesting exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is the first my first semester in journalism was the first time I met you. Is the first year.
That's right.
You met me when I was at my happiest in college.
Yeah.
You know, beforehand, I don't know. Maybe we wouldn't have been friends the year before because I was so miserable in computer science.
That's really interesting. That's interesting because I lived in a different dorm too the beginning of that year, and then Dave, his roommate, just never showed up. Like he just stopped going to Penn State. So like I can't believe. First off, I can't believe that like housing didn't know because it was like that for a few weeks. Like you'd think like collegiate housing would fill that up instantly,
right?
But they didn't. So I just like put in. I was like, can I like just transfer rooms? And they were like, yeah. So maybe a month, like 3 or 4 weeks in, I moved in with Dave. That was maybe like one of the most memorable years, and also the subject of many of the characters in your book too.
Yeah,
but
that's nuts though that he lived by himself. Like I had to win a lottery to win my own room.
Yeah, like his roommate just never showed up.
It's pretty crazy.
So, but yeah,
it is fun to live by yourself. Yeah, let's talk about like some stuff to bet on perhaps. Sloop talking about Quacky, how's the Magic Memorial?
R.I.P. to my futures. I'm sorry, guys, but I hope you had especially with the Magic going to Game 7. That probably had some good hedge opportunities there.
Yeah,
I mean, what can I say? I mean,
I recommended for you to take Boston to win the championship. I don't know if you did that, but that's something I did with one of your other plays. Like you had the Predators at 60-1, and then when they were down 3-1, I took the Canucks at 15-1. And then they won Game 5, and then they took it to 3-2, and then they lost in Game 6. So right now I have the Canucks. Let's see what they are here. I got them at 15-1. I know they lost Game 2 in overtime. Like they could be up 2-0 right now. Actually, I'm not seeing.
I think they're probably going to win that series.
Oh, NHL.
Brock Besser has been incredible for them.
So Canucks right now are 20-1, so even better. So yeah, you can just get that if you wanted to. But yeah, they could be up 2-0 right now in the series, and you know, I think what is the old adage here in hockey? Like anyone can win, really. Like I wouldn't take a team down 3-1 like Carolina. I assume Boston's in the same situation. I don't know.
I think Boston's down 2-1, aren't they? I can't believe the Panthers are the favorite like that. I thought it would be like to me like the Rangers at this point. They look. I mean, I know they just lost Game 4, but I mean they've looked pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, Florida leads 2-1. Yeah,
I don't like Boston at all this year. There's just no way they come out of this. Like like a lot of fluky things, in my opinion. They're not as good this year. They're still solid, but
Okay.
I really have a hard time. So maybe 22-1 looks juicy. I don't think so. I'd stay away from that.
But you'd like Vancouver 20-1.
Yeah, I really do. I think that the Dallas probably comes out of the West.
Okay.
But the value with Vancouver is definitely there. I think a lot of people think Edmonton's going to win that series. It's 1-1, but Vancouver, they're a team that I've watched for a long time. I've seen that they've been on the come up for a couple years now, and now the Chickens finally came home to roost this season. But I really think that they could run away. Like Elias Pettersson has kind of been absent all these playoffs. He just got his first goal, I think, in the last game, and he's like one of their better players and a player that I'm a big fan of. So I don't know. I just feel like we haven't seen them, reach their full potential here. Maybe in this playoff run. So I think if they did, they could run away. So I really like the value there. But out of the East, I really like the Rangers. They really seem like a team. Also, this is I have a friend who's a Rangers fan. He said this is the 30-year anniversary since they won the last cup.
Well, who they beat in the Stanley Cup Finals that year? It was
Vancouver.
All right. So maybe you take Vancouver and hedge with the Rangers.
I have a buddy that has that matchup.
Oh, nice.
Vancouver and the Rangers. That would be cool. Mark Messier was on that Rangers team. You remember that iconic shot of him like holding the cup and shaking it? It's a great scene.
That was Gretzky. Gretzky was there too, right?
He was, but not at the same time. He was on the Kings at that time.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Gretzky he won 4 cups with Edmonton.
Okay.
And Messier won 5 in Edmonton and 1 with the Rangers.
Okay. I for some reason I thought Gretzky was on the Rangers that year, but on Vancouver was Pavel Bure, right? That was their top guy.
Yeah, I think it was Bure.
Yeah, that was back when I followed hockey, and I used to know all this stuff. Now I don't know any of these names.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, the Rangers at plus 380, I actually might take that because I think they're especially strong this year. And they're a team like the Washington Capitals were for so long. Remember, the Capitals could never get past the second round. And of course, the Rangers have done that in the last decade or so. They made it to the finals 10 years ago. But like the Capitals, you knew like the Capitals, they were eventually going to break through. They had so many good teams, and they did win the Stanley Cup in the 17-18 season. Mm-hmm. I think it could be that kind of year for the Rangers, and they're certainly looking strong enough. So they're pretty much steamrolling through. I mean, again, they lost tonight, but at plus 380, I really like that. I think that's pretty good value for as strong as they're playing. So That's my 2 cents.
Okay. Well, I am on Vancouver, but yeah, I mean, hedging with the Rangers is I guess nostalgic, I suppose. Let's go to the end.
And then if they meet, then you could and if they meet in the final, then you'd be doing all right too.
Oh yeah. And anything you see in the NBA, unfortunately, like I said, your Magic are out, but I don't know if you got the Celtics. So I think they were plus money before the series. But anything you like here? Maybe Nixon 19-1. Or you want to take a long shot here with Indiana 70-1.
70-1. Yeah. I think there's like the Pacers are maybe worth a sprinkle. The Knicks at 19-1 I like, but it almost seems too good to be true. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of interested in seeing. I didn't think that Dallas was going to win today. I thought the Thunder were going to come through. At 8-1, I don't know. I always, how I like the scripts. I think like eventually, like they're going to want Luka to kind of get his. I feel like at some point I could see them maybe getting to the final. So 8-1 might not be too bad. I would take the Mavericks or the Timberwolves coming out of the West. But yeah, I think that the Knicks number is good too, but it seems too good to be true. So for that reason, I'd probably stay away. But what do you like here?
Yeah, there's something special about the Knicks, I think. That the team they remind me of is the 2000-2001 76ers, where they were just like all the offense ran through one guy, the guard, and then they had a bunch of players who were like really great defensive role players or players who could hit threes. You had for great defensive players, Theo Ratliff got hurt during the season, but they had George Lynch, they had Tyrone Hill, Eric Snow. Like these guys were fantastic defensive players. And then they had their 3-point shooters, like you had like Aaron McKee, stuff like that. Obviously Mutombo after the Ratliff injury, so he was another defensive player. So It really reminds me of that Sixers team. I'm not saying Brunson is Allen Iverson, but like Brunson does so much scoring for that team. It's kind of like Iverson was the one-man show offensively, and like Brunson is that way. Unless someone is raining 1,000,000 threes like Dante DiVincenzo last night, which it was so tilting because I had his under points. But he just like randomly hit 7 of 11 threes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But anyway, no, I think that they remind me of that. So that Sixers team went to the finals. And so, I think they're going to run into the Celtics buzzsaw, but all it takes is Jason Tatum turning his ankle. We saw that last year in the Game 7, and Tatum gets hurt. Suddenly, the Knicks are looking pretty good. So I don't hate it. I don't know if I'd actually bet it, but it looks kind of interesting to me. I still think Minnesota comes out of the series. Like I think that what they did last night against Denver in Game 3, I think that's what happened to Boston in Game 2. Whereas like they just took it for granted after such a blowout win. I think they're going to come back. Although part of the reason why I was so down on Denver was because Jamal Murray didn't seem like he was healthy. But like for some reason they gave Denver like 4 days off after Game 2, and Murray looked healthy last night for the first time. So I'm actually thinking like if Murray's 100% now, Denver is 7-1 is not too terrible because people remember that they were down double digits against the Lakers in every game, and then they got blown out in Game 2. They lost to Minnesota in Game 1 as well. But Murray being healthy now changes the script completely for Denver. And I think that like if Murray were healthy the whole series, maybe Denver would be up 2-1. I don't know. So 7-1, might actually should be 4-1. So Denver 7-1 is looking kind of interesting. I know the odds are better last time. Someone asked about that. I can't remember what the number was, but if Denver is what they were last year, now that Murray's healthy, I think 7-1 is interesting.
I'll tell you what, just whatever you do not take the Boston Celtics at -130. I don't think. I don't know. I mean, like plus 200 or something maybe, but -130. I don't know. And call me, say what you will, but I mean, I know that they're really good. They've been, they're certainly like far and above the juggernaut of the league this year. But I just don't think at -130 they have to get through a lot, and they could certainly do it. They're really good, but there's a lot of teams like still in the East. Like I think the Knicks are really good. And then whoever comes out of the West is going to be, should they go to the finals, it's going to be really tough. I'm just surprised it's -130. I don't think it's that. Like maybe plus 200 or something like that, but I wouldn't take that. Obviously, they could win it all, but no value there for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I think they deserve to be the favorites, but yeah, -130 seems ridiculous. Like Minnesota can beat them. Denver, if Murray's healthy, can beat them. Dallas with Doncic, you said, like I think that's I think that's legit. Like I do think they want the Mavericks to win because of Doncic, and the Mavericks their defense is incredible. So 8-1 looks pretty good, and then I don't think I'd take the other 4 teams. And the Knicks, like I said, Knicks are somewhat interesting, but I think they'll ultimately lose, kind of like the Sixers. That Sixers team did. I would take them over OKC though.
I feel like the Knicks are like probably would be like a public pick out of those who take futures. That seems so. That's kind of why I want to stay away from it. But I mean, I think
it does stand out. It really does.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It really does.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't think I'm going to do it, but it does look like a really good numbers. But maybe that's there for a reason. So,
you have any interest in the Thunder there?
No, I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're that good. I don't know. I'm not surprised Dallas went up. I think the last time we were, I think we were on, whatever it was, like it was after OKC beat Dallas in Game 1, and it was a blowout. And I remember people were saying, "Oh, it's going to be Minnesota, OKC in the finals, in the Western Conference Finals." And I actually remember saying on the show, like, I really don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas wins the series. I don't think OKC is that good. I know they're the number 1 seed, but I don't think they're seasoned enough yet. I think they're still too young. Right. Maybe this time next year they'll be better, but I don't think they're ready. I think Dallas will win the series. I think Doncic is just too good. He and Irving are just way too good, and their defense is so great. I think it's going to be Dallas versus either Minnesota or Denver. So I think Dallas 8-1 actually looks pretty good.
What can you bring up the conference? I want to see what Dallas is doing the West.
Yeah.
Like
wait, this is a series. Hold on. Where are you? Conferences. Here we go. Okay, so we have Minnesota plus 135, Dallas plus 250, Denver plus 310. It's weird that they would flip Denver and Dallas because Denver's 7-1 to win the finals, and Dallas is 8-1, but Dallas is plus 250 here, and Denver's 310. Strange. I don't know why, but maybe you can make something out of this. Maybe you take Denver, or no, maybe you take Dallas at 8-1 to win the finals, and Denver at plus 310 to win the West. That's something to think about.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
But if you take, who do you think has a better chance out of those teams of beating presumably if the Celtics get there?
I think it's a better chance.
Probably.
I don't know. Matchups in advance are so hard to figure out. I don't know. Denver's done it before. I think the top 3 teams could beat Boston. I don't think OKC can, but I don't know. I think they're all alive to beat Boston. Not that I think Boston will certainly lose. I think I would still favor Boston, but like if like Boston and the top 3 teams here, they're all alive to win.
I think so. I think so too. I still can't believe Boston lost to Golden State. That Golden State team, I just don't think that they were the best team. Obviously they won the series, and you can easily argue against what I just said, but they just didn't feel like the best team that year. I thought that was Boston's best chance. And then, of course, last year, I can't believe actually, you know what? I did bet the Heat, but I thought, like, if any team was going to have a chance to come back from 3-0, it was obviously them in that situation.
Well, Tatum got hurt. Game.
Right. But still, they have a lot of really a lot of good pieces too. I thought they still could have won the game. That was it got out of hand really quickly.
Yeah.
I was watching. So I was watching Game 5 of the 2005 NBA Finals, the Spurs and the Pistons, with Robert Horry. Remember Robert Horry and all the clutch? He had like 21 points in the with 1 second left in the fourth quarter and overtime. He had 21 points, including the game-winning 3. I think Robert Horry should be in the Hall of Fame without a doubt. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, his name came up on Thursday when Scott Mason was on, and we were discussing I brought up the Sixers in the 90s when we were talking about actually this stemmed from how teams always hire Patriots assistants under Belichick, and it never works, and you think they'd get the memo eventually, but they never did, and I always thought this is the dumbest thing in the world because. You're like these teams are looking at the Patriots' success and they're like, oh, we want to do what Belichick does and let's get his assistant. So you're hiring from an organization that's so successful, but you're not getting the 2 reasons why they're the most successful. You're not getting Belichick and you're not getting Tom Brady. You're getting an assistant. And so I always thought that was stupid. And then I brought up, I was like, this reminds me of the Sixers in the 90s when they were terrible before they got Iverson. And it was post Barkley before Iverson. There was 5 years there where they were just one of the worst teams in the league. I remember the announcers being so excited that they got Scott Williams. Scott Williams is like a role player on the Bulls teams. They're like Scott Williams, 3-time NBA champion. He knows how to win. I remember as a 12-year-old, I remember thinking, that's dumb. We're not getting Jordan or Pippen. We're not even getting Tony Kukoc. We're getting Scott Williams.
Yeah.
This is not. This sounds like so stupid. It's not a good idea. And Scott Williams was he averaged 10 points for the Sixers. He would have been an okay role player on a great team here, But anyway, that's what it reminds me of. And then I brought up that so Robert Horry came up then, and I was like. Horry's the one exception, he's not the main reason why all the teams won that he was on, but he was such a key component in it. He wasn't reason 1, 2, or 3, but he was up there. And I was like, because he was so clutch, I think he was the exception to the rule. So if my 96ers had signed Ori, obviously he's around later, but if you transport him to that time and they sign him, I'd be like, I would have actually been excited because he'd hit clutch threes and stuff like that, and maybe he'd win some games in the fourth quarter with clutch threes. It's like that's like the only like role player that you can make an exception for. So to answer your question, I do think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
I think he does too, and I wonder, and this because he's one of my favorite players of all time. So this is not meant to like throw any shade at him, but like I feel like remember when Iguodala was on the Sixers and they tried to like build the team around him.
Yeah,
I love Andre Iguodala, but like he's just not really a guy you build a team around. And like he did all right, but like I feel like Ori, like if you try to build a team around him, might have had like Iguodala ceiling or like adjacent maybe. So like
I would not build a team around him. I think that's a mistake.
Right.
But if he's your number 3 player, like that's fine. But he shouldn't be your number 1. Like they're not going to ask him to score 30 points per game.
Right, but it's just
like Iverson.
It's unbelievable. I always used to have this joke with my uncle that game 5 against the Pistons because Ori was the inbounder.
Mm-hmm.
And he threw it to Ginobili, and they went to double team, and we threw it right back to Ori. And like Al Michaels and Hubie Brown are in disbelief. They're like, "Oh, Ori! Like, no, my like my uncle and I used to joke like, hey, like let Coach Larry Brown for the Pistons, like when they're in the huddle during the timeout. Do you think he said like, hey guys, like I don't need to say this, right? Like not to leave Ori open, right?
Right.
Like, do you think there's any chance that he forgot to say that and assumed?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Larry Brown's a legendary coach, but I think he screwed up in the 2000-2001 series because the Sixers like they went all out to get Mutombo, and they did that after Ratliff got hurt, and they wanted Mutombo because they knew they would match up against Shaq in the finals, so they needed someone to guard Shaq. I'm like, okay, so you got this guy to guard Shaq, but every time in the finals, they would double team. Like they'd send someone down to help Mutombo guard Shaq, and Shaq would just throw it out to Rick Fox or Derek Fisher or Robert Horry or there's the Christie on that team too, right? Doug Christie.
He was on the Kings.
I think. Wasn't he on he wasn't on the Lakers that year? He was. I think he was on the Lakers at one point. I think.
I'm trying to think of who we're forgetting. Well, Kobe Bryant. I mean, but that's not. He wasn't like the go-to three shooter though.
Yeah, there would be like 4 guys who would shoot threes, and it would.
You mentioned Rick Fox. I love Rick Fox.
Yeah, Rick Fox. Ron Harper was, I guess, the other one.
That's right. Horace Grant was on one of those teams.
Yeah, Horace Grant was on. By the way, Ron Harper's twin brother was a teacher at my high school.
Really?
He was also 6'6". He's a very tall guy. And like first time I saw him, I'm like, he looks so familiar. Who's that guy? And then I heard his name was like Mr. Harper. I'm like, is that Ron Harper? Is he teaching?
That must have really put your mind in a twist.
What'd you say?
It must have really put your mind in a twist. You're like,
yeah.
How does this guy look like Ron Harper? It's like his name's Harper. I might have thought I was getting punked.
I was like, is this weird? Is this what is going on here? Why is Ron Harper teaching in my high school?
Yeah.
But Ron Harper had a twin brother who's also looked exactly like him. He was also 6'6", and
wow.
Yeah, but he was just a math teacher at Central High School in Philadelphia. But no, yeah, so it would be one of those 4 guys who would drain threes all series long. Like no joke, they're hitting threes at like a 50% clip. And it was all because they were wide open because Shaq would always find the open guy. And I hated Larry Brown. Like I developed a disdain for Larry Brown from that series, who I always loved beforehand, but he got outcoached by Phil Jackson. And just keep Mutombo and Shaq. Don't double. Like I know Shaq is gonna go nuts because like Mutombo couldn't stop him, but like no one can stop Shaq. It doesn't matter. Just let him get his 35. And just let him score because like the threes were killing him like all series, and it just like he never adjusted. I lost a lot of respect for Larry Brown there. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, obviously legendary head coach, but I really thought that like Whereas before I thought he was like, oh, best coach in my lifetime, and then no, he really
he definitely blew. I mean, he is a really good coach, but he definitely blew a few opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the Pacers teams he coached.
Yep.
Too, and then that 2005. I mean, he did win it with Detroit in 04, the year before, but he should have won that series against the Spurs. I'll tell you what. The other thing that people forget, and I'm a big Tim Duncan fan, but like if you watch that Game 5, that 2005 series, like Ori bailed him out, and Tim Duncan gave him a lot, showed him a lot of respect afterwards for that one. But like Duncan, he went like 1 for 7 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter, missing shots, turning the ball over, like. He's lucky, but I remember they asked Tim Duncan in the you can see Robert Horry in a different interview in the background, and they're like, "What was the difference tonight, Tim?" And Tim Duncan looks over at Horry and he looks back and he goes, "Big shot, Bob." It's such a great clip. Big shot, Bobby. Then he says that big shot, Bobby. He's so calm. I remember my first year watching basketball. It was Tim Duncan's senior year at Wake Forest, and I was thinking this guy's going to be good.
And the Spurs tanked that year to get him. So
that's right. Well, David Robinson got hurt too. Remember? And then they tanked.
He did, but like I don't know. It felt like they kept losing on purpose. Like once that happened, they realized, and it was the right move, because obviously that helped them out a lot. And then early years they had Robinson and Duncan together. That was a great team.
Oh yeah, those teams were great. Yeah. 99 was the first. I really can't believe it in a way like that Shaq didn't win more championships. I think he was maybe the most dominant center of my lifetime. I could make that argument, especially his prime.
It's because he was lazy. Like when he was motivated and at the top of his game, like he was unstoppable. But like there'd be seasons where he would slack off and gain some weight, and he was like huffing and puffing in the fourth quarter, and he just wasn't in shape, and they just wouldn't win that year. But like if Shaq was always like in shape, they would have won so many championships, right?
He's one of the most. I remember that press conference. It was during the finals of one of their championships in the three-peat, and they're like, "How would you advise someone to like guard you, Shaq?" He's like, "I wouldn't. I would just." Or he goes, "How would you guard yourself?" He goes, "I wouldn't. I would just go home." It was so true. Like you knew there was no like stopping him in the end.
Yeah, but, I mean, he knew. Like it's funny if there were like a Shaq clone. The Shaq clone could not guard Shaq.
Yeah. Well, what about Hakeem Olajuwon? Would you say Olajuwon was up there?
Yeah. I mean, when Shaq was in his prime, Olajuwon was fading out. So it's tough to say. It's a hypothetical matchup. You never know. Like Bill Russell, in his prime, because like could he stop or slow down Shaq? Like maybe, but like Mutombo was supposed to be this great defensive center, and he was bad against Shaq. So like. I don't know. Like, how do you stop someone like him? Like this 7'3" bulldozer, just like is so athletic and like I don't know. It seems so impossible just to contain him.
Could you imagine? Like, it's. I think about this too with sports, especially football. Like, could you imagine playing basketball and like you're playing defense, you're standing in the paint, and here comes Shaquille O'Neal like going at like full speed down the lane, gonna dunk on you? That'd be like a freight train, man.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be like getting in a car accident.
I had a similar experience in my book when I wrote about my basketball class with Mongo. It was this like huge behemoth. I took this charge and I was like, charge. Mom was like, no charge.
Yeah, you got to be ballsy to take a charge, man.
I used to love taking charge. I used to do that all the time when I played basketball. I used to be in like these like 18 and over leagues in my neighborhood, my neighborhood gym. And I think I told the story before, but like the first year we were okay. Like I think we won a game or two, but like it was the first time we're ever playing together, and so we're expected to be like a little like raw, But the second season, the commissioner of this league, he had this dilemma where he had an odd number of. So there's an A league and a B league. The B league was guys like us, like regular guys trying to play basketball, have fun. The A League was for former Temple players, former LaSalle Drexel players. Like these guys, sure, they're not 18 to 21 anymore, but they were like 30, and they were still like really good. They could still dunk, And so he had this dilemma. He's like, hey, I have an odd number of teams in A League, an odd number of teams in B League. I need to put one team in B League into A League. What do I do? And so he was like, I know, I'm gonna put our team name was the paper bags, because we had these brown jerseys that looked like we're wearing paper bags. So like we called ourselves the paper bags. So he's like, I know, I'm gonna put the paper bags in the A League and just screw them over. And we had two there was like one game where we were like somewhat close, or actually a couple games were somewhat close. There's two games that stand out. There's one game where it was we were down 8-6 and the game ended 59-10. There's another game
8-6. Wait, what was the final score? 58-10?
59-10.
They won on a 51-4 run there. What was?
Yeah, we didn't score in the second half. We didn't score a single point in the second half.
So like, what was you were just missing shots, or were they like just like rejecting like every shot, or like what was?
We missed both. We'd miss shots. Like guys would try to drive, they just swat the ball away super easily. These guys would like dunk on us. Like it was a joke. Like pretend you're playing against you saw guys in the NCAA championship. Like think about those guys 8 years later, like trying to play against them. Like yeah, they're not going to be the same as they were then, but like and obviously they didn't make the NBA, but like the best bench players on the championship team or whatever. Like
we're gonna get absolutely smoked. Oh my! We lost 59-10.
We lost 59-10. We lost another game 69-20. It was very discouraging. It was like the worst season. And my friend Josh, who like he was going to be on the show at one point in the future, because he watches a lot of TV and movies, so I wanted to pick his brain on like stuff to watch. But he was a film major in college at the time, and one of his classmates had to film a documentary about sports. So like they came to watch one of our games. It was the 69-20 game. And so they filmed us like playing, and like the person narrated is like, and this set back basketball 50 years.
Wait, do you have a copy of this footage?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him. It was his classmate, so it wasn't his, per se. But
I want to see this video if it exists.
So we're asking if we covered 69-20. Yeah, the spread was 52.5, so we got in there. I don't know what the spread would have been if there was one. Probably would have been in the 30s, or like I don't know. Yeah, imagine seeing like a bunch of guys. I'm about 5'9". Like the tallest guy on our team was 6'3", and like there was like one or two guys on the other team that were 6'1", and like everyone else is like 6'7", 6'8". Like we just had no chance. Like everyone guarding like the other person was like 5 or 6 inches shorter, like on average. Like we just had no chance at all.
Was at any point, so like when you were down 8-6, did you ever think, like, did it cross your mind like, oh my God, maybe a miracle is going to happen here today? Did you think that at any point? Like, what if the unthinkable happened when it was 8-6, or did you know like it was just a matter of time?
No, my hope was that we would not get blown out. Like I was like, could we stay within 10 maybe, like for most of the game? No, it was a complete disaster.
But like, were you getting like me? Like, if it was 8-6, like I might be getting excited. Like, oh my God! Like, what if somehow we found a way to beat this team? Or were you more like, this is going to be like really bad? Just like, how bad is it going to be even then?
The guys on the other team were dunking. Like, we could barely touch them in that. Like,
this is like the Harlem Globetrotters. Like,
yeah, I don't like. Even if like their top two players like rolled ankles and were taken out, then we still would lose. We had no chance.
Have you ever seen the Simpsons episode where Homer? It's called Homie the Clown. Homer goes to clown college, and Krusty has to open the clown college because he's losing all his money gambling, and he's like his attorney is like he's on the couch and like the mafia's like there with Krusty, and they're staring at the TV, and the attorney goes, "Let me get this straight. You took all the money you earned from the clown college and bet it against the Harlem Globetrotters?" And Krusty's like, "I thought the Generals were due." And he's like, "Come on, he's just spinning the ball on his finger. The one guy was using a ladder, for Christ's sake." But he bet against the Globetrotters. I never that was a thing. They used to have the Globetrotters used to come around like Pennsylvania, but I never went to see them.
I never did either. I used, like when I first started watching sports, I was confused because I knew about them, and then when I saw like the NBA standings, like in the newspaper back then, I was like, "Wait, where's the Harlem Globetrotters? I don't see them anywhere."
Right.
Yeah,
I remember going through that too.
Yeah, it was really weird. I thought they were a real NBA team, but apparently not. No, I never saw them either. I think they performed at a Sixers halftime show. It was like a 10-minute thing that they did briefly. I remember seeing that. I went to like maybe 6 or 7 Sixers games in my life. And I think they did one day. I don't even know if it's the Harlem Globetrotters. It might have been like a spinoff, like a
right. I've seen that too. At like the halftime. Have you ever seen? Do you remember Ernest P. Worrell, the Ernest movies?
Like Ernest goes to jail, or Ernest goes to
yeah. Okay, they made one that was called Slam Dunk Ernest. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in it.
Really?
Yeah, you've never seen it. It's okay. It's a bad movie, but I love the Ernest movies. Like Jim Varney was the late great Jim Varney was a legend, and I didn't know this. Like Ernest did like 500, like Jim Varney did like 500 commercials or like 1,000 commercials for all sorts of different things, just as the Ernest character, and then they did the movies. I didn't know that. So it was such like back in the day, like Ernest was such a huge hit, but like the premise of the movies, like he gets is not coordinated at all at basketball, but he plays for like the city league team, and like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar like brings him these like magic shoes, and he can like fly all over the court. And then they end up playing the Charlotte Hornets in like an exhibition. It's so stupid, but I highly recommend if you like bad cinema. You know what makes me nervous? You're talking about the Harlem Globetrotters at halftime. You ever see like at the halftime game, like the acrobatics? It's sort of like they're off the trampoline and they're like flying at the backboard and like they keep flipping it back up and they're like jumping behind each other. Mm-hmm. I always get so nervous. You get nervous for Jenga? I get nervous. They're going to go freaking head first through the backboard. I really get anxious when I watch that, and they never have. But a couple times I'm like, oh my god! Like
it's the same. Yeah, it's the same situation as Jenga, and it reminds me of Cirque du Soleil. I don't know if you ever saw any of those shows.
Same situation, but one has much more dire consequences.
But I mean, these people are professionals. Like they know what they're doing. So I trust a little bit more. But it's the same thing as the Cirque du Soleil shows in Las Vegas, where you have like all these crazy acrobatics. My wife and I saw a few of those back when she used to come out with me. The Michael Jackson one was the best one, but Beatles was good too. But yeah, some of those are good, some not so good, but it was always like really impressive what they could do.
Right, and I've never seen one like the Cirque du Soleil, but I know of its prowess and how everyone it's well revered. But I think that's like you're going to get like the best of the best, like acrobatics and all the other things that they do in Cirque du Soleil. Like that's a tough gig to get, not like the intermission or like halftime show at the Sixers game. Like I think it's probably not, well, I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but it's definitely more likely there that could happen. I always get nervous. They're going to smack their head because they're just like flying like really, really fast through the air. I've never seen them do it, but I get like same thing. Like you ever go to an air show? I would never go to an air show. It always makes me nervous, man.
No, but like that kind of stuff's like always like I always thought about it. Like, how would it be to work in that profession? You wake up, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get my coffee and banana, like you said, and then I'm gonna get my newspaper, read my newspaper. Oh, and then in an hour I have to get dressed, and then I have to do some acrobatics in the air. Like it's so weird.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's just like any other job in a way. Like,
I suppose so, but like with that kind of stuff, you can't really get out of shape, right? Or else you die. Like you have to stretch and you have to stay in shape. I'm sure there's a lot of working out. I feel like you have to work out a couple of hours a day each day to stay in shape. It's part of your job.
I'm sure, but they're probably working out so much they can eat McDonald's hamburgers all day for 49 cents a piece.
Yep, those are the good days.
The energy. Really, though. those people are like, I mean, they're in way better shape than I'll ever be. The acrobatics and stuff, I can't even do a pull up. Not anymore. I was never good at pull ups, even when I was in good shape. But I don't know. I could never really do them.
I didn't know if I could still do one. I had a pull up bar in my parents' house because in my old room. 'Cause I used to work out all the time, and I surprised myself. I could still do a few. And so my son was actually there, and he's like, wow, like he saw me do it. He's like, it looked like so befuddled. He's like, how'd you do that? No, I used to do pull ups all the time. I used to like hit about 20, just because like I was in such great shape just from swimming like about 3 to 4 hours a day and lifting weights as well. Like I was in such great shape back when we knew each other. Well, when we first met, I mean. So yeah.
When you swimming a mile, how many like back and forth is that in like a traditional or like a standard pool?
Yeah, and any standard pool you see it like an LA Fitness. Up is 1, back is 2, so it's 70 times.
70 times is a mile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How many miles could you do like without stopping?
Back in the day, I could keep going until I had to sleep or eat or drink. Like it was never a question of how much I could do. The hard part about swim practice would be like, all right, they'd be like, all right, we're gonna do a set. We're gonna do a set of 10 100s, hundreds being 100 yards. So each length of the pool is 25 yards or meters, whatever kind of pool you are in. So it'd be like, so 100 will be 4. It'd be like up, back, up, back. That's 100, right? So you'd have to do 10 100s on the 115. So you would do 4 laps and whatever, like say it took you a minute 5, right? And then you would look at the clock so if you would always start at the 60, and then next time, because given 115, you'd have to start at the 15. So you'd come in at 105, and then 10 seconds later you have to go do your second one, and then you'd come in at like the 23, and then your third 100 will start at the 30, and so on and so forth. And so by the end, the first one's 105, second one's gonna be like 108, third one's gonna be like 109, and then like by the end, it's gonna be hard to hit 115. I mean, obviously there are different times given how given how fast you are. Some people would do 130, but like it was all about building stamina and like just trying to like you'd want as much rest as possible, but if you went super fast, so like you'd burn yourself out, and then you won't be able to. It was like it'd be great if you got like 20 seconds rest each time, but then like you burn yourself out, and then you couldn't finish the set. So it's always just like give and take. Some people I knew would just try to hit 115 every time and just like keep going without getting rest. So like that's basically how our swim practices ran. But no, I mean like if hunger and thirst wasn't an issue, or fatigue, or like if I like no sleep was involved, I could go forever. Like it would just I would get tired. Yeah, I would never get tired, unless I needed to sleep or eat or drink.
Wait, you're like how many miles do you like? If it was just like just swim until like you can't get, like you think you could do like 10 miles?
Oh yeah, no. There have been days where I swam like 8 miles throughout like different different practices, but yeah, no, I could do 10 miles. Like again, like I said, if I could do it now, if hunger and thirst wasn't an issue, I could just do 10 miles. It'd take me about 5 hours, maybe, I think, but I could do it. I don't have 5 hours to waste, but if I did,
I'm really impressed.
Oh really?
I could always swim, but I was never a fast swimmer.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's all about the breathing. Like that's the hardest part. Like figuring out like breathing rhythms, like regulating your breathing. Like once you do that, like it gets so easy. Because I used to be a swim coach too. Back when I finished swimming, I used to coach the local swim club here, actually right across the street from my house. And then I coached George Washington High School swimming. And like I get like new swimmers in high school, and they would really struggle to figure out the breathing. But once they did, their times just just a plummet, So it was like that was the real challenge. But if you practice enough, you get it. Like it's not too bad.
There's no way I could do like do that nonstop. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It doesn't seem like that bad to me at all. Like right now, I do a mile straight through, and I'm like not in shape at all, and like I just do it, and I sprint like different parts of a mile. Like I like the workout I do now. I do like the first 400 yards or warm up, and then I sprint the next like 6 laps, and then I'll take it easy for 2, and then I'll sprint 6 more, I'll take it easy for 2.
Wow.
So that's like what I do now. But if I just swam like with the flow and just like did like casual, it does, it's not tiring to me at all. Like I don't get fatigued like one bit.
That's really impressive. I could keep myself afloat, but I could never swim for speed or like endurance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's always really impressive to me. Slu saying pull-up bar serves as a hang dryer.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's my old room at my parents' house is now my dad's office. I don't think he uses it. My mom was joking one time about how like she's never seen my dad work out, because I was like, we're talking about like staying in shape, and I was like, yeah, maybe he can go for a jog or walk, and my mom was like, no, never happen. And then I was like, I remember Dad exercising once. Like we used to play horse in the backyard, and my mom joked, is like, yeah, that's probably the last time he exercised.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Those are my goals.
Yeah. So asking, as you swim, are you thinking of sporting spreads? Yes. It's like, I get a lot of them ideas when I'm in the pool. Like I actually do that. I actually will drive to the gym knowing that like during my mile I will be thinking about like what I'm betting, or like the games. Like as I swim, I'll think about okay, let's do Browns Titans. I'll do that in my head for like 4 or 6 laps or whatever, and then I'll just go to the next game. Or I'll think about stuff I want to write, or like stuff I want to do, or like stocks I want to buy or sell. Like I do a lot of like right now I'm doing a lot of day trading with call out and put options, and just follow the news basically, and it seems to really work well. But like that's the sort of stuff I'll think about when I'm swimming. Like outside of keeping track of my laps, like that's it. Like I think that's the hardest part, is like keeping track of your laps. It's like sometimes I'll be like, wait, is this my 48 or 46? Like,
I was gonna say, I feel like that would be tough too. Doesn't it? Don't you hate wearing the swim cap?
I don't wear a swim cap.
Oh no, why not?
Why would I?
You should, man.
If I had long hair, I would.
Come on.
My hair.
Did you have to wear one for swim team?
What'd you say?
Did you have to wear one for swim team?
You never had to wear one. Girls did, because they'd have such long hair, it would drag. If like that, that would just be such a hindrance for them swimming. But no, guys didn't have to. I only wore a swim cap when I had swim meet. During practice, I wouldn't. In fact, during practice, I wore 2 sets of swim trunks, just to drag myself, just to add drag to it, just so it'd be harder.
I've heard that. I've heard. Yeah.
And in fact, when I was at Penn State, my friend Mehmet and I, he was on the Turkish national swim team. Like he was so good. Like I used to keep pace with him, and I used to be able to do that. Like he was always a little faster than me, but I always try to beat him. But like, he was a super cool guy. When we worked out on our own, our coach was like, "Hey, wear these sneakers in the pool. It'll help you here kicking." And so like we wear sneakers in the pool and the IM building. Like we would go into the locker, we would go into the closet, and we'd take out these sneakers. Like the lifeguards would be like, "What are you doing?" They would always be like confused. And we're like, "No, we're the swim team. We're doing our sneaker swim." And so that was that, like adding stuff to your practice, making your practices harder. That's what it would be. But when you actually got to the swim meet, you'd want to make it super easy, just so you'd seem like you were flying. So like I wouldn't not wear a cap ever during practice, but whenever I did swim meet, I would put a cap on. It actually like made me like concentrate more for some reason. I don't know, but
do you wear a shower cap now, or
no? No,
I don't think I've ever worn one in my life either.
I don't. I don't. I'm not trying to protect my hair when I'm showering.
Oh man.
Yeah,
What a
my guy. Yeah, the spread was paper bags plus
paper bags
50.
plus
He
50.
looked it up on Killer Sports.
Yeah.
The JCC 18
Paper
and
bag
over
plus
men's basketball league from what year was that? It's probably 2005. Around, I actually think it was the summer after we met. I think, or maybe maybe that was the first year. I can't remember. But yeah, no, it was pretty bad. Sue asking, do you find yourself looking for and parking in the same spot when you venture to Trenton?
That sounds like something I'd do if you don't. I would do that.
I usually parking around the same spot. Usually, like, so when you turn in, you go to you can only go right when you turn in, and then like the first entry into the parking lot, you turn, and then you can go either left or right. Right is closest to the stadium. Left is closer to this to the parking lot. Like there's a parking garage, and so I go to the left, and it's usually like the fourth spot I go into. That's usually where I park. So it's around the same. I can't say for sure if it's
Wow.
the same, but like I'm always like the same area. So yeah.
Yeah, you find you should, if you get a big win from one of the lineups, you have to remember what spot you parked in. Then you
Yeah,
can keep
well,
going to that same one. That sounds like something I would definitely do, Slew. I probably go to the same spot every time, unless I see the security guards out there. Yeah, well, I wonder give me the paper bags money line. What do you wonder what that would have been?
It's off the board. It's not there.
Yeah, that would be. I wonder what's the largest spread? I guess let's just say in NFL where the underdog won outright. I would say for college football. Remember that game, that 07-08 college football year? Stanford upset USC. I think they were like plus 40 or something.
Yeah, I remember.
Richard
Yeah,
Sherman was on
that
that
was
Stanford
Harbaugh.
team.
That was a Harbaugh win, right?
What, Harbaugh was at Stanford?
Was it a Harbaugh? No, wait. What am I thinking of? No, it was Jim Harbaugh, right? Stanford upsetting USC. Pete Carroll. I remember Harbaugh used to taunt Pete Carroll all the time.
Yeah, it was he really? I remember Richard Sherman was a receiver on that Stanford team, and he had a key reception at the end. They were Harbaugh beat. Was it Jim Harbaugh? Wow, I almost forgot he was at Stanford. As crazy as that is.
It was. But, yeah, Harbaugh Carroll was such a big rivalry, and then the transfer over to San Francisco, Seattle.
That or Appalachian. Remember Appalachian State? I don't.
Yeah.
Beating, but I don't think. I think the money line was off the board.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's a money because they put themselves at too much risk if if the team wins like that. Here's a trivia question for you. This is dating back to 1989. I don't have anything beyond that.
Okay.
So there have been 26 games in which the spread was 17.5 or greater. How many of those 26 instances involved an underdog winning? And for bonus points, who was it and in what year? So again, 26 times there's been a spread of 17.5 or more in the NFL, dating back to 1989. So what is the overall record, or how many times has the team of underdog 17.5 or more won outright? And for bonus points, who and what year?
I'm going to say 1-16 is the record.
It would be 1 in 26. You mean? I said 26, not 16.
Oh! I thought you said out of 17. Okay, well, I was going to say one win regardless. So
okay,
I guess I get partial credit. Okay, so 1 in 26. I'm trying to think here. Dating back to 1989. What was? Oh, you know what? Was it the 03-04 season, the last game of the season when the Cardinals beat the Vikings?
No, that was a memorable game. That was Josh McCown leading the comeback there. No, that wasn't that high of a spread. I think that spread was like maybe 12 or something. I actually had Arizona in that game.
Really?
That was a nice one. Yeah, I remember that game was like Arizona led for a while, and then Minnesota took like a 10-9 lead. And I remember thinking, "Oh, this game's over," because like it was like 9-3 for a while, and then Minnesota scored a touchdown. I'm like, I don't think Arizona has anything left. And like McCown was treated like a rag doll in that game. He kept getting sacked over and over. Like Minnesota's defensive line was so good in that game. And then it was like a 4th and 26, and like he threw the game-winning touchdown on that throw to knock Minnesota out of the playoffs. It was incredible. But no, that was not one of them.
Yeah, Green Bay got in that year because of that.
Yep. That was the year Brett Favre's dad died, right?
That's right. The Packers went on like an incredible run. Remember that 399 yards, 4 touchdowns, I think, against the Raiders on Monday night.
That was the most incredible performance I've seen.
It really was. It really was. I really thought like that year they should have won too. I thought that they gave up that. I don't want to get into it farther than this. That 4th and 26 first down, Freddie Mitchell. I'll never forget that. That
was insane. Yeah, it was the only thing Freddie Mitchell ever did in his career.
Yeah, that was the same year because that was my senior year of high school. Remember the Packers had beaten the Seahawks in the first round because that's why you thought like it was destiny. They came on late, and then like. Remember, the Seahawks won the toss. Old overtime rules, by the way, for those keeping score at home. And the Seahawks won the toss, and Matt Hasselbeck goes, "We want the ball. We're going to score."
Yep.
And he threw that pick 6 to Al Harris.
Yep.
Al Johnson.
I remember where I was when I was watching that game. It was at my parents' house because I was home for winter break, and I remember I was in my parents' bedroom just watching the game. I remember Hasselbeck saying that. I'm like, it doesn't seem too smart.
Remember Chris Collinsworth really gets. He's like, ha ha, like the way he laughs is so memorable too.
Yep.
But I remember I was thinking about this. I know I've told this story I think on the show before, but it's worth a retell. When the year the Packers won the Super Bowl with Rodgers in 2010-11, and they beat the Falcons, who were the 1 seed. And the Falcons were like they were up 7-0. Then the Packers tied it, and then they returned the kickoff. They're off 14-7, and that was it. The Packers ended up going up 7, I think. Yeah, it was 7. Then they were gonna the Falcons were trying to go down at the end of the first half to get like a field goal, and Tramon Williams had that pick 6 to end the half, and I knew right then and there that Green Bay was going to win the Super Bowl that season, and. And I knew they were definitely winning that game. I think the final was like 48-21 or something. They crushed them.
Yeah, it was a tremendous victory.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I was texting you because I had like $300 on the Packers too. And I remember texting. I was like, I can't believe that just happened. And you wrote back because Tramon Williams had the pick 6. You wrote, that was tremendous. I'll never forget that. I was so pumped up in that moment. I was loving it.
Yeah.
But the Joe Buck calls. They tried to bite off more yardage and they just got burned. That's a good Joe Buck call.
Yeah, one of a few.
Cinder's saying it's the recent Cowboys game.
It was a Cowboys game, but it wasn't recent. There's I don't know if you guys will get it, but
now hold on. I'm gonna go with no, not the Matt Flynn game, was it? Okay.
This is gonna be hard for you guys. Well, at least for you to get this because you were not.
It wasn't that Thanksgiving snow game against the Dolphins, was it?
No. Nope.
17 or more.
Yeah, the line was 17.5. So there's never been an underdog of 18 or higher who's ever won, at least dating back to 1989. It's as far back as the database goes. Like I think Super Bowl III, I think the line was 17 or so, or maybe it was 19, but
right.
It only goes back to 89.
Hang on, I really want to think about this. It's a game involving the Dallas Cowboys. I'm trying to think of some of their. Oh no. Never mind. I was thinking of a different game. Shoot, I bet I'm going to kick myself when I hear it too. Because I feel like the Cowboys would have had to lost.
Yeah, they lost. This is This is back in their heyday.
Who was it? I'm gonna try to give up.
So in 1995, the Redskins beat the Cowboys 24-17. They were 17.5-point underdogs. Heath Schuler was the quarterback of the Redskins. He did not have a good stat line. He was 11 of 24 for 154 and a touchdown. Aikman was the obviously quarterback of the Cowboys. As far as I could see, all the Dallas top players played. Emmett was in the lineup. Michael Irvin, and Nate Newton, Russell Maryland, Leon Lett, Charles Haley. Deion Sanders was on that team.
Wow.
Yes, that team was loaded. I just wonder how they possibly lost. They were down 24-10 at some point before Aikman threw a garbage time touchdown to Michael Irvin. But yeah, no, Dallas went up 7-0. In fact, they were up 10-7 at halftime. But looks like Schuler threw a touchdown pass to Henry Ellard. This is taking me back. Remember these guys. Terry Allen scoring a rushing touchdown. Then Eddie Murray hit a field goal to go 24-10. So it looks like there was no special teams nonsense or anything like that. Just Redskins just beat them down, and it was one of those rivalries. I'm sure Dallas was 10-2 heading into the game. The Redskins were 4-8. I just assumed that the game before, Dallas, I'm sure, was just curb stomping their opponent. I'm just looking back to 95 when they lost to the Redskins. The week before, they beat the Chiefs 24-12. They were 10-2 heading into the game. And I guess no one thought the Redskins had a chance, obviously. And it's one of those things, it's a rivalry, and the Redskins, that was their Super Bowl, I'm sure. I'm willing to bet anything the Redskins lost the following week. I want to see. What do you think the result was the next week? The Redskins played the Giants the next week. I don't know how good the Giants were that year. The Giants were also a terrible team. They finished 5-11. The Redskins finished 6-10. So how do you think the Redskins did after beating the Cowboys 24-17?
I bet they got crushed.
They didn't get crushed, but they lost. They lost 20-13. So I imagine they didn't cover.
Right. Wow.
So, yeah.
I'm over here trying to look up what do you think the point spread was for the Appalachian I think it is Appalachian State Michigan game. It had to have been at least
it's 41, I think.
41?
I think it was that high, yeah. I remember. I think I liked App State plus 21. I think I didn't bet it or anything, but I remember looking at that. I was like, App State's not bad.
Right, yeah. I'm trying to find where it is. That is so crazy that could happen. I mean, well, that was the 07-08 season, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was.
I was still in my parents' house, so it must have been around that era, yeah.
Yeah, that was 07-08. It was the first game of the year.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was the first game. Let's see. Not super recent, a couple years ago. Okay, Emmett couldn't even count to 17.5. Yeah, he must have been like, wait, why are those two numbers together?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wore number 22, so maybe he could get a little up to that point. I don't know.
Yeah. Emmett kept trying to figure out how to score a half point. It's like, wait a second, if I score half a touchdown, does that count as half a point?
Yeah. Oh man, I can't believe that. I'm trying to think of some other big upsets where what would you think the line was the year that the Ravens beat the Giants in the Super Bowl? What was that, 2000? Mm-hmm. Remember the Giants won 41-0 against the Vikings? I wonder what the spread was for that game. I feel like it had to be like 10. Appalachian. Thank you, Cassandra.
Yeah, Cassandra's saying Quacky's as Appalachian State. I have a friend who lives out there, and she turns into a psychopath if you pronounce it the other way.
That's how they get about Nevada, and it's Nevada. Nevada, not Nevada. They
really
get touchy
Nevada?
about that out there. Nevada. Yeah, it's Nevada, apparently.
I feel like there's so much trash flowing in from California, they don't know these days. But so wait, what did you ask? What the spread was for Vikings Giants?
Yeah, for that Vikings Giants NFC Championship game
in 2000. I think it's probably -3.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I could look it up. I think
the Vikings were far superior, though, were they not? I thought it was going to be like at least 7. Maybe it would be 10. I don't know.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it was. I mean, the NFC Championship. I don't think it'd be that high. Maybe it was 6. Maybe we'd meet halfway.
You might be right. That might be right. I don't know. I just remember like that being a huge shock. That game, 41-0. But I was also like a kid, so maybe I'm just remembering it wrong.
This thing
maybe it was like 7. The Vikings were 14. The Vikings, they're 14-2. That's Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss, Chris Carter, John Randall. They were still all there.
Yeah. I remember thinking the Giants were really good though that year. Okay, so the Vikings, the Vikings were -1 in that game.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really remember that wrong then.
Yeah. No. Okay. I'm seeing something else. So I'm seeing -3. Okay. So yeah, I was right. Yeah. That seems right because I remember being really impressed with the Giants that year. I thought they had such a great coaching staff. They had John Fox and Sean Payton as their assistants. They had this great running game. Their defense was awesome. They had Strahan and stuff like that. Tiki Barber was a great running back for them.
Why do you think those other? I'm sorry.
I'm done. I'm done.
Why do you think we're talking about like the Patriots assistants? Why do you think McDaniels and like Patricia never panned out? Or maybe you don't, or you can say you don't know either.
Well, it just might be for different reasons. Like Patricia is just not a good coach, and he was just buoyed by Bill Belichick. It's the same thing. It's like you could get some bum on the street, put him on the coaching staff of the Patriots back in their heyday, and he would look good because Brady and Belichick were doing everything. And then Team X would be like, oh, let's hire this bum. He's around Belichick and Brady. He must be good. Or he can mimic whatever they're doing. We could be like the Patriots. It's the stupidest thing.
How hard do you think it would be to be like an offensive coordinator?
I think it'd be pretty difficult. I don't think a lot of people could do it. Just think about it this way. There are only 32 people in the world who are NFL offensive coordinators at any given moment.
That's true.
You're gonna have some inept guys, but the cream usually rises to the top, and so you're gonna have a lot of good coaches. And I think that if you take a below average offensive coordinators in the NFL who will lose jobs within 2 to 3 years, if you put them on the high school level and you have them in charge of their offense, they're going to be so much better than the opponents. And even in college, maybe not 1A, but if you put them on a Division I AA school and have them be an offensive coordinator, they're probably going to run circles around the other coaches. I'm not talking about the most inept coaches in the NFL, but guys who are below average who are not going to keep their jobs for that long, they're just going to be super successful in lower levels.
How do you think you rise to the coach? Maybe I could be a coach. What would I do? Just start at the high school level or something? Try that?
Yeah, or you could just basically live out of your car like Eric Mangini did. That was the whole story where he really? He would work. I don't even know if he made any money. He would just work under Belichick. He would get his coffee. He would live in his car in the parking lot. That's how poor he was. And he just kept grinding and grinding. He just got promoted. Eventually he became a head coach, and it worked out. But how many of those guys don't end up head coaches, and you just never hear about them? And it's hey, I can imagine someone thinking oh, I'm going to grind like Mangini. It'll be a tough 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but I'll be an assistant coach eventually, and then a head coach. I'm sure there are countless thousands of guys who've tried to do the same thing, and they just never went anywhere. And it's a tough business. Same thing with coaches. There are only 32 NFL head coaches at any given point. So yeah. I mean, you not only do you have to grind, you have to be really good too. Either you have to be either really good or you have to have something on someone. I feel like there have been some bad coaches. I feel like who maybe had some info on the owner or something, but. Let's see. X's and O's formation terminology, pretty hard. Yeah. Walsh, Shizzy, and Crazy Quack in the house. Say, love to eat that. How's it going?
Hey, how would you like to be a referee?
You asking me, or are you asking?
Yeah, yeah. How would you like that?
I don't know. My friend is a referee. He does like local high school and like low level college stuff for basketball, and I think he does volleyball too. And he says like, sometimes it's fine, but like, if you get something wrong, like he hears about it, and it sounds super stressful. I don't think I'd like to do it. It just doesn't sound fun to me.
I have a good friend of mine and one of your big followers too, as well. Actually, who he is a ref for like high school and some college soccer games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and like he was telling me a little bit about like just like the like psychological game that you have to play, and like you're gonna miss some calls like if you do that. Like It's just from a perspective of percentages, it's gonna happen. I would never want to call like. You know what I think would be the hardest one to officiate is hockey, because at least like all the other like like fields or like courts, like you can run off the sidelines, like you're trapped in there with them. You got to like learn to jump and dodge and get out of the way on the skates. I think that would be tough to do. But I think like like the refs that make the good call, like the toe tap sort of catches, like how you can see that in the moment. I mean, I'm sure you get better at it, but I feel like that would be so hard. And also like in the NBA, like it's a matter of concern of sorts in the NBA. It's like you've got to be like anticipating the contact. Like I think calling fouls would be hard.
Yeah, your mind can't wander for a second either, or you're gonna miss it, and then you're gonna look like a complete dunce if you just blow the call. It's tough. I mean, it's a thing, and yeah, for hockey you have to be athletic as well. Like you have to be in shape to like keep skating back and forth. Like sure, they have their own workout regimen and stuff, but you also have to have like focus too. It's like an attention span. It sounds pretty difficult. It's not something I'd like to do. Mike asking, what will be the first OC job to open in 2024? How can we get Quacky the job? Well, what if the Jets start slowly and they fire Hackett or something? And then Quacky gets to reunite with Aaron Rodgers. It'd be a great story. But I think the quickest way to get Quacky the job is to get him some compromising information on the owner. So he can blackmail the owner and to get a job.
I'll have to try it. I mean, I'm joking, of course. I know it takes a lot of work and study. I just saw this clip one time. Larry David was quoted as saying, he's like, "Give me 1 year, I could be an offensive coordinator. Like, give me one." He's like, "How hard could it be?" It's like, there's so much more to it, obviously, than meets the eye. But
he had that one episode where he became a car salesman.
That is a good one. Yeah. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Jeez, there are. You remember? Have you ever seen The Accidental Text on Purpose?
Was that a Curb?
Yeah, it was Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Go ahead. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Funkhauser, like, because Funkhauser's girlfriend didn't like Larry because he was like, "Is this water?" Or he went over for dinner. He's like, "Is this water filtered?" He's like, "Is this not filtered?" And she's like, "You have no filter." It's such a great line. But yeah, and then the late great Richard Lewis, like she walks out of the room, and he's like, "Hey Larry, fish would commit suicide in this water." But then, like at the end, like he has to send a text. Like he tells Funkhauser, "Send the text to your girlfriend," but be like, "Larry, you're such a jerk. I care about her so much." But then I love the way, the late great Bob Einstein too.
Yeah,
I love the way, like finally at the end he admits that he hates the water. He's like, I hate the way it looks, I hate the way it smells, and I hate the way it tastes. And then they break up. It's a good one.
Yeah, those are always great. One of the ones that stands out for me is when they don't want to go to the party, so they show up. So like Larry shows up the next day, and so they like he's just looking. Oh, I'm so sorry, I got the date wrong. Okay, bye. And then the people are like, "No, we have leftover food. Come in." And then like he gets trapped there.
Funkhauser has him come in, but I love then Richard comes in after him pulling the same stuff, and Larry's like, "You can't steal this. It's my idea." And Richard's like, "What do you have a fucking copyright on it?" I love that line.
Yeah, I that stands out to me because we used to have parties here all the time, as you might remember. But like my friend Andrew, We're not really friends anymore, but he did the same thing. He texted me the next day after the party. He's like, "Hey, what time is it tonight?" I'm like, the party was last night." He's like, "Oh, so sorry. I wish I could have made it." And
Wow.
is that? I'm like, are you like kidding me? Like, is this from her or? I didn't call him out on it because I didn't want to like ruin our friendship, but I really did
Right.
think that I thought that he did that on purpose. So I don't know.
People love to cancel plans nowadays.
Yeah,
Everybody's doing it.
you can't ruin that anymore. You can't do that anymore because Larry David kind of ruined it.
Right.
No. Stanley asking, "Hey Walt and Quack, if y'all was the Lakers GM, who would y'all hire as the new Lakers coach that can deal with LeBron James and his ego? Because I don't think there's no coach out there that can coach them." Yeah, they're talking about bringing Budenholzer from Milwaukee, and I'm like, well, didn't he get fired from Milwaukee? Like, why would you bring this guy? I never understood that. Like, bringing in retreads. Like, I get like there are certain circumstances where it might make sense, but like I thought this way when the Sixers hired Nick Nurse, and I had this argument with my dad. He loved to hire, and I'm like, why? The Raptors just got rid of him. Like, why don't they just bring in something new? Like, try to find the next what was the guy from Miami? What's his name? Eric Spoelstra. Like try to find the next Eric Spoelstra. And my dad's like, oh, that's so impossible. I'm like, what? How? Like Miami found him. Like I'm sure there are guys out there who's never gotten a chance and they could be great. So if I'm the Lakers GM, I hire someone who's never been a head coach before. Try to find the next diamond in the rough, and if you don't, just try to do that again. Because they're not in a position to win now with even an average or above average coach. Like they're just not. Like LeBron's old, Anthony Davis is always injury prone, and they just need more talent otherwise compared to the other teams. And I know like LeBron has this giant ego, as Stanley said, but I don't know. I would just try to find this diamond in the rough coach, try to give them a chance and see how it goes. And just play it by ear. And just again, if it doesn't work, then I feel like you don't lose anything because the Lakers aren't going to win anyway right now. So that's what I'll try to do. Try to find the next Spoelstra.
They should hire Jeff Van Gundy, huh?
Jeff Van Gundy, yeah. I mean, he did super well back in the day.
Remember when he was coach of the Knicks? He had some good years.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to be a head coach. Maybe he just doesn't want to be.
I was just joking, but
I mean, why not? I thought he did a good job. He did a good job in two places. So I don't know.
Or he coached Houston too, right?
I don't know. I just know that he did a great job with the Magic and the Knicks. I don't know about the Rockets. I don't know. But yeah, I would just try to find someone new. Mike says Walt's eyesight is too good to be a referee. He does gamble on games enough though, so maybe I with someone with my gambling background can't really be a referee. And Lefty says,
maybe we could be umpires for the Trenton Thunder and like kind of fix the games.
Yeah, let's fix the games. It's our goal to be higher.
We'll do our weekly. We'll do a podcast the night before every game, and then let them know.
Yeah, we'll let everyone know who to bet. So it's like a wild pitch. Be like strike. It'd be so obvious.
Yeah, man, that would really be something. I bet that wouldn't be as hard as you think to pull off. I mean, I'm not going to do it, but
yeah, to fix the I mean, Tim Donaghy was getting away with it for a while. Every time I hear that, like, oh, games aren't fixed, I'm like, well, Tim Donaghy fixed games in the NBA. If games in the NBA could be fixed, why can't games in other sports be fixed? It seems silly to think that some games aren't fixed. Not like I would never go overboard and say like every game's fixed. Like that's crazy. But I'm willing to bet at least one game per month is fixed in the NFL.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
There are a few games that really stick out in my mind as probably fixed. Do you remember? This was the 07-08 season. I remember the Steelers were -6 against the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is still the Steelers' heyday. And the Browns were absolutely awful. The Steelers were -6, and they were up 10-3, late in the fourth quarter. I want to say with 3 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. And I had the Steelers -6. They're up 10-3. and the Browns kick a field goal with like 3 minutes to go, and it made it 10-6, and that was the final. It was like it was the worst. Like, there's no way you would do that. I don't think. I mean, I guess coaches I guess they thought, like, why would you kick a field goal there? You're going to want to go for the tie with 2 minutes to go. Like, they made the field goal. The Steelers got the ball back, and they sat on it. I always thought that game was rigged.
That happened this year in week 1, Titans Saints. We had the Titans at +3.
Oh, yeah. We benefited, though.
It was 16-12, and Vrabel kicked the field goal to make it 16-15. I remember he got flack for that. But I remember thinking, like, there was still like 3 minutes left or something, and they had a chance to get the ball back. They didn't, because the Saints hit a big play. But I thought the Titans had a chance to get the ball back and win 18-16. I mean, Vrabel loved those weird scores. Like 16-15, 18-12, 18-16,
13-12,
19-17. Like, he would live for those scores. I'm convinced that, like, he was a big scoregami fan who was trying to hit all
Yeah. But at least in that example with the Titans, if they got the ball back, a field goal would have won them the game. That's not the case with the Browns.
That's true.
I remember thinking, I was like, this game is so freaking. And I remember because I bet on the Steelers. I remember as I put the bet in thinking, this seems too easy.
No.
But
and Cassandra pointed out, looking at the effing Rams field goal this past season, yeah, that was what, 20-10 that made 2013, I think. What was that? Was that the final score? It was week 2. So it was the week after the Saints Titans. No, sorry, it was 30-20, and McVay made it 30-23 as an 8-point dog. And it was that was way more egregious because the field goal happened as time expired. Like, there's no reason to kick the field goal. Like, I don't know. You can't win the game at that point. So, like, I guess like the argument for him was like, hey, if we try Hail Mary, one of our players might get hurt, so we're just going to kick a field goal because it doesn't matter. I guess you can make that argument, but I don't like. It was very shady just to cover the spread, like it covered the 8-point spread, make it 30-23.
There was, I guess you could maybe make the argument like, oh, I want my guy to get more reps, like in-game reps, sort of thing.
The kicker, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Or like the punter or the punter, the holder and the long snapper sort of thing. That I guess you could make that argument. There was a UCF game, actually. It was UCF and I don't know, it was like Louisiana Tech or something, like one of those American Conference teams. And I saw this video where so UCF won by like 4 touchdowns. Like they won by like 30. So anyhow, like the over-under for the second half was like right on the cusp, right? So Louisiana Tech's coming down. They're on like the UCF 1, and they get stopped. So like the game's over, and like the under hits. The game says final. The scoreboard says final. The teams are out onto the field, and then the refs are like, no, wait. Louisiana Tech scored or called timeout with 1 second to go. They're down by like 30. And so there's one more play. What do you think happens? They score a touchdown and the under loses.
Sure.
But it's like, see, I think that would be, I had no skin on the second half under in that game. I just saw that and it was like, oh. But like, could you imagine, like, you see like the word final like flash up, like the teams are going like onto the like field, and then it's still, and then you still lose. That
would be very tilting. Yeah, you have to wonder if someone called something in or something. It's strange. I always wanted to write a book about bad beats. We've had so many over the years, just to compile them. I think that'd be a fun project. Maybe that'll be my next book.
Yeah. I'd have to think about some of mine. There was a game. It was a game that I gave to you. It was the Buffalo Sabres over the Oilers, and the Sabres won in overtime. Like, it paid out my bet. And then, like, I just like was happened to look through like the scores later in the evening, and it said the Sabres won in a shootout. I was like, no, they didn't. They won in overtime. Like little did I know, like, because I was like, yes, they won. Like, they paid the bet. They brought them back in from the locker room because they were like, oh, there's an offside. I had no idea. In the meantime, a shootout happened. Buffalo still won, and I had no idea that it had ever happened. But like, I could have imagined the disappointment if they had lost. And I came back and I mean, they brought them back from the locker room to play that. I would have been livid. That would have been a horrible, horrible beat.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awful. Lefty asking, why are the Lakers beholden to a 42-year-old man? Um, yeah, it's a good question. There are rumors that he's going to leave soon. I guess I don't know. I thought he wanted to go to LA to make movies. It's kind of weird goal if you're playing basketball. It's like, hey, I want to go to this team to make movies. But I mean, he did win a championship, but I guess I don't know. There's like an asterisk to that, I think, because it was during the COVID year, and they took a break during the season. I remember thinking that like that Lakers team wouldn't have had a chance if they played out the whole year because like there's no way Anthony Davis was lasting the whole season, but they took a break, and so Davis was able to get like recharged, and so I don't know, I thought that was a big advantage for them, but.
I remember when they shut down all sports for COVID. The night before, like I was supposed, I happened to get box seats to the Magic Bulls game, and I was getting ready to go to the game, and then the night before they like shut everything down. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" I was so excited too.
Yeah, I was on such a hot DFS streak heading into the COVID shutdown.
I remember that.
I was Sunday before the the stuff shut down on a Wednesday, right? On Sunday, I won an XFL tournament on DraftKings, and then the next day, I won an NBA tournament on DraftKings because the Bucks sat all their starters, and I saw it like a couple minutes before tip off, and I guess no one else did. I saw the news. I removed Giannis and Middleton or whatever, whoever I had in my lineup. I removed all of them, and they were still like 30% owned. I was like, man, I must have been, I don't know what news source I saw, but like I was the only person to see this apparently. And that gave me a big advantage in the tournament. I ended up winning. And then that Wednesday night, I was like third place and I still had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going. And that was the final game. And so I may have won that tournament too, because like there was no one else at the top who still had players left. And I was third place. I still had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And so that game never happened. I still got third place though. Just imagine it's a good payout. So
Wow.
like that was like that 4-day span. I was on fire, and then I've not had nearly the same success since, like at all. Like I don't know what was happening before COVID and like why things changed after, but like DFS has just been like a disaster. Although week 18 this year, I've said the story to Kenny a couple times. I was debating between Zamir White and James Conner for my running back spot in week 18. And I was like, James Conner he's going to be so highly owned because he just had a great game. And I was like, I think Zamir White could have a good game too. He's playing against the Broncos who can't stop the run. I was like, all right, I'll play Zamir White. And I think I won like 8th place in that tournament. It was a single entry, so it wasn't like the main one. But yeah, I won 8th place. If I started James Conner, I would have won $50,000.
Oh my god!
I didn't win anything close to that, but yeah, that was disappointing. So I don't know.
I remember you were having quite a run. That remember you and I, we were doing League of Legends. Freaking what?
Oh my god!
I was like waking up at 3:30 in the morning, like texting you, like, you watching this?
Yeah, we'd watch it. Yeah, and then I do Korean baseball. It was like lock would be at 5:30 a.m., which worked out great for me because that's when I'd go to bed anyway. So I would I'd set my Korean baseball lineup and then wake up at like 10:30 and like check my lineup. And actually, I did like well in one night. It was like one of the first times I did it. I finished like 10th or something in the main GPP, and I was like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna be awesome at this, and I just never came close ever again. So.
Man, I remember there was a guy I knew that was betting on like Russian ping pong or something. That's a thing. Like I see it on the Hard Rock app. I would never bet on ping pong, man.
Yeah, there could be a big advantage though. I don't know if I said this to you when we're talking about WNBA DFS. I don't know if
I think we were talking about it at one point.
Yeah, I was like, I imagine if you have inside info, you can make a lot of money on that because like that information is not readily available at all. Like if you have sources on who the starting lineup, like what the starting lineup is, who's going to be out, who's injured, I imagine you're going to win almost every GPP out there because most people will just play it and not have the info, and you're going to have such a big advantage. I don't know how to get that info. I wish I did. If I knew how, I'm sure other people would as well. But I imagine there's like someone there's some like beat reporter for the WNBA who has this info and like it's just making bank on WNBA DFS.
I should research that a little bit. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's. I feel like it's an untapped market, or it's tapped by like 2 or 3 people who just keep winning this tournament
That's a
over
good
and
thought.
over again.
That's a good thought.
Yeah. Having that sort of leverage, I think, is really important. I felt like I used to have that in MMA because people used to play the same fighters from the same fight in MMA DFS, and there was like 10% of the lineups. I was like, it's ridiculous. I was like, this is such great leverage because they basically pay the rake. And I would profit almost every week, and I chopped with like 60 people, but I won GPP once in MMA. But yeah, I feel like that's changed. It's now like 3% of lives do it instead of 10, so it's not as lucrative as it once was. But yeah, I mean, finding that sort of thing where you have an advantage over people, like that sort of inside info, or even just insider knowledge like that other people don't have is like that. That's something you should always look out for. Sue with the 555, thank you so much. 2 hours in and no supers. The YouTube ad revenue, you're down to under 40 cents an hour. Keeping the streak alive. Happy Mother's Day. Good night. Thank you so much, Sue. Really appreciate it,
man.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your support, Sue. Just awesome. We have some other comments, and then let's get to Game of Thrones. Stanley asking, will there be a Chiefs Eagles rematch in the Super Bowl? I think there's a good chance that could happen. I bet the Eagles to win the Super Bowl 17-1. I think that's a great number, and the Chiefs are going to be there as long as Mahomes is healthy and Andy Reid is coaching. Like they're going to be one of the top teams in the NFL. Like statistically, you would say no because there's so many other possibilities, but out of all the possible matchups, I think that's up there for sure. So, yeah, you could see Chiefs Eagles, maybe Eagles Bengals, but Chiefs Eagles rematch could definitely happen. What do you think?
Oh man, I'm still saying go Jets and Packers or Jets and Bears. Oh, that would be a beautiful payout. I really like the Jets. And can you imagine? Oh, it almost seems so obvious, but people would be drooling for that.
Yeah.
That would either one, well, Jets and Packers. Can you imagine Rodgers playing against the Packers in the Super Bowl? That would be that would be great for business, huh?
Oh, yeah. They thought the Taylor Swift Super Bowl ratings were high. Like, it's another cash cow for them. That'd be awesome.
My argument with the Jets over the Bears, like it's one you might not think of until it already happens, and you're like, will his dominance over the Bears like continue? Could you imagine that it's like Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears his whole career except for the Super Bowl, like they lost or something? Like, wouldn't that be like an interesting draw? Or he wins and it continues.
Yeah, poor Bears fans. That's
I know, man. You know what I was thinking? I was recently watching some Devin Hester highlights. Holy cow, man! One of my favorite players of all time. Wouldn't you compare? Well, no, I guess it's apples to oranges. I would say like Devin Hester. We've talked about this before. He was the best kick returner I would say probably ever.
Yeah.
And why do you think he was never a good receiver? Like you would think that he would be more explosive.
This is not a good route runner. I think about it this way: Jerry Rice ran a 4.71, and he would always be open just because he was the best route runner of all time. It's like you just have to find ways to get open. It could be with great speed, but if you can't run routes, and it's hard to get open against like elite cornerbacks. So or maybe the Bears just could have used him differently, like try to get him in space and maybe not a traditional receiver, but I don't know. I maybe it just didn't have a good coaching staff. But yeah, like he just couldn't run routes, so it's tough.
Interesting. Yeah. Because I always remember I always thought he would be like a good like he'd potentially be like a good DFS sleeper. You just feel like because he was so explosive as a returner, you feel like what if he just like went off? He could really be because he was always low owned, but he never really had like a game like that.
Yeah. They just never. I mean, he never had the volume. He was just like maybe they try to get him the ball once or twice, but you just can't bank on that. Like you need him to score a touchdown. Even still, like if a guy catches the ball once for 30 yards and a touchdown, that's 10 points in PPR. And at 3,000, like the minimum, Actually, it'd be 4,000 now, but oh no, I guess for receivers still be 3,000. But yeah, I mean the 3,000 minimum, like is 10 points good enough? Like, yeah, if you get everything else correct, yeah, but like sometimes there are $3,000 guys who score 17 to 25. Like look at Tank Dell last year, and like one of the weeks he used the bare minimum and he scored like 30 fantasy points. So you
Wow.
sort of there's always some guy like that who's sub 3,500 and he'll score 20 plus fantasy points on DK. Like it seems to happen like once a week. You know, I mean, the tough part's finding that guy. But if you can do it reliably, like you're going to do really well. And like that, Tank Dell for a while was that guy last year. Love T says Clerks rooftop game was fixed. love that movie, so good. I haven't seen it in a while though. I should rewatch it. Let's see here. Cassandra's saying LeBron is still waiting to play with the son who will never make the NBA.
Yeah.
Bronny. It's kind of crazy that his son is old enough to be in the NBA now. Yeah. All about those period charts in the WNBA. I thought it was a chance for a second. I was like, it was weird. Yeah, charts in the WNBA. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be some guy who keeps track of that stuff. I'm not talking about quarters.
No comment.
Yeah. Love T says Packers over win total. What do you think? What do you think their win total is?
I mean, if it's over 10, if it's 10.5, I like the over.
Oh, they don't have it. What they had it like yesterday, or they had it on Tuesday. They don't have it now. That's so weird. They don't. Oh, here we go. Wait, make the playoffs. FanDuel's weird. Like sometimes they'll have stuff and then they'll like remove it. I don't know. Maybe we'll look at it next week. You know what? They probably took it down because the schedule is going to be released on was it Tuesday or Wednesday? So maybe they took it down. We'll look at it next week.
Okay.
Brian Mitchell should be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's one of the best returners of all time for sure. 200 TARs behind Jerry Rice. TARs behind Jerry Rice for all-purpose yards. Yeah, Mitchell was incredible for sure. All right, Game of Thrones. You watched season 2, episode 10, season 3, episode 1. So, what were your impressions of those 2 episodes? I do have some questions for you, as you might have guessed, and maybe some observations as well. Go ahead.
Well, I was so happy that Tyrion didn't die. Because I thought it was gonna. I kind of got faked out. I thought it was gonna. Because like I was saying before, I thought when Ned Stark died, that I was like, they didn't actually show it. So like maybe something happened, and so I didn't want to get my hopes up. But I'm so glad because Tyrion's my favorite character. But yeah, it's really interesting to see. Like now I can't the coin that Arya gets. And then this guy's got different faces, so I wonder what. At first, I thought maybe that coin had some supernatural type of powers, but I think, as we discussed in the green room, that's not the case. But yeah, it was a really great final episode to see the White Walker and like that scene with Sam at the end. What a really great shot to end the series. So go ahead. Let's hear some of your questions here.
Well, I love to. That's the best season ever. Yeah, I think season 3 is the best one from memory.
Oh, really?
I'm rewatching now. Yeah, I mean, as you know, episode 9 is the big one. You already had in season 1, you had Ned's death, and season 2, you had the Battle of the Blackwater, which I remember you saying you enjoyed. Season 3, episode 9 is perhaps the most famous episode of the series. So that is something to look forward to.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. One observation. So you said Tyrion, you were happy to see him alive. I wanted to note that in the books, he's way more disfigured than he is in the show. In the show, he just has a scar. And he actually says to Shay, he's like, I look like a monster or something of that nature. But maybe that's kind of a reference to the books where he looks like way more disfigured than he is now. And I think that they didn't want to do that to the. I mean, he is first billing in the credits. Like, I don't think they wanted to completely uglify the main actor on the show now. So
right.
perhaps that was the motivation. But I wanted to kind of talk about that.
Okay.
In the House of the Undying, when Daenerys goes in, and do you remember what she saw before she saw Jason Momoa again? Do you remember her standing in the throne room? And do you remember what she saw in the throne room?
Well, I'm trying to think now. You're saying like right before she walks out in the ice and snow?
Yes. In the like when she's standing in the King's Landing throne room. Do you remember what she saw, or what the throne room looked like? Because it was not like you would see regularly.
Shoot. Yeah, I mean, I don't now, but I remember, I know exactly which part you're talking about, but I didn't really pay, like nothing caught my eye there. I'm like, I don't notice anything.
So it was snowing in the throne room.
Oh,
So,
okay, I noticed that. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought I was like.
Yeah. So in the House of the Undying in the book, she sees different things, and I'll tell you what they are in a second. But it's worth noting that it's basically premonitions that she sees in the House of Undying, and so this might also count as a premonition if you want to think about what that could mean. Just like the snow falling in the throne room. Just maybe you can think about it, but.
Do you think there's any chance that she's Jon Snow's mother? Maybe she's like timeless age.
Well, I was gonna ask you who you think Jon Snow's mother is.
So that's my guess.
Okay, it's interesting, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, because like I think like I said before, because like when she stepped into the fire, I told you, and the dragons are that's a great. I think it was the shot to end season 1.
Yes,
and when the dragons were on her and she was completely naked, I mean. Beautiful shot for many reasons, but it was like I remember thinking like she have some sort of like supernatural, like I think there might be more to like whatever, like I thought she had supernatural power of some kind, so I think like I don't know, like maybe it turns out like she's like time, like she doesn't age or something, like I don't know, like it's so interesting to see like the zombies and the White Walker and like the dragons now. Like it was kind of like a curveball for me to see those things in this. I didn't expect it to be like that sort of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's unique, and I think something maybe a little unexpected could happen like that. Because otherwise, I don't really have any other reason other than that seems like it's always the person you least suspect, or
yeah.
No, it's actually usually the person you most medium suspect.
I mean, as far as Jon Snow's mother, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. I don't know. Like there have been people who guessed it for sure. But before they revealed it, obviously. But and the Bainoff and Weiss, the guys who did Game of Thrones, one of the prerequisites of doing the show was George R. Martin asked them, "Who do you think Jon Snow's mother is?" And they answered correctly. And like if they answered incorrectly, they weren't going to get it.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was the thing. But by the time they ran the show, there were either 4 or 5 books out. So they that's basically 5 seasons worth. So at the end of season 5, maybe you should know, but maybe not now. So the imagery in the House of the Undying in the books. So in one room, you have a naked, beautiful woman on the floor with radish men with pointed faces and tiny pink hands crawling on her. That is one scene that she sees. It would have been nice to have that on the show, but hard to do that. What I really am disappointed in, though, in the next scene in the House of Undying in the books, Daenerys sees a bloody feast with a king, with a wolf's head overlooking the feast. So that is one of I don't know. You could maybe think about what that could possibly mean. Yeah, a bloody feast with the king with a wolf's head on it overlooking.
Oh shoot! Which house is the wolf house again? I can't remember now.
The stars.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
Okay. Yeah, just some stuff to consider. And by the way, going back to Daenerys for 1 second, I read something recently. They said that like you can tell how much power she has by the number of braids she has in her hair. When you first see her and she's being sold off to Khal Drogo, she has no braids in her hair. But like as she keeps getting braids, like she gets more and more, and she actually loses some when she loses her dragons. And then when she gets it back, she gets more braids in her hair. It's something that show, the people in the show did, which I thought was really cool. All right, so I have two more questions for you. One was involving episode 10 of season 2, and I asked you this via text, so maybe you thought about it. What was Jaqen Hagar doing in the dungeons of Winterfell? Because as you've learned at the end of season, at the end of episode 10, Jaqen Hagar is something you call a faceless man. He can change his face. It's basically the faces of people who he's killed. So this guy is a expert assassin. He can basically kill anyone. He's a mercenary. He can change his face. How would someone like that end up in the jail cells of King's Landing? Like, and I have a theory about this. This has not been revealed in the books or the show, but I think it makes a ton of sense. But I don't know if you had any thoughts about it before.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think he's undercover for somebody, you know.
But who though?
Varys, maybe.
Okay, Varys. My
or Littlefinger.
My theory is that Littlefinger contracted him to kill Ned Stark, and I think he did this knowing that Ned Stark would be transported to the Wall, because that was the agreement. Like, if Ned Stark admitted that Joffrey was the rightful king, he would take the Black and he would be transported to the Wall. Who was being transported to the Wall was Jaqen Hagar. Remember, he was in that cage with those two guys. I think that Littlefinger, like, first of all, it takes money to hire these guys. Who has money to do this? It's Littlefinger. What is the motivation? Littlefinger wanted Ned Stark to die because, you know, he had these plans for Catelyn Stark and stuff like that. He even said to those, remember, those two prostitutes who were practicing having sex, he's like I'm gonna F them, you know. He said that. So I think that Littlefinger hired a faceless man, Jaqen Hagar in this case, to kill Ned Stark on the way to the Wall. And I watched Ned's beheading because no one thought Ned was going to die, right? If you look at every character reaction, everyone is either shocked or appalled or like in distress. Even, like, obviously Sansa is going to be, right? Everyone on the stage. But like even Cersei, like if you look at Cersei when Joffrey's like, bring me his head, like Cersei runs to Joffrey and grabs him by the arm, and she mouths something like, don't do this. You can't hear what she's saying, but she's like, don't do this, because she knows, you know, they're going to go to war if he's killed. Varys runs to Joffrey and like begins pleading with him, but the only person on stage beside Joffrey who does not have a reaction to this is Littlefinger. You watch it, you look at him, he's like laughing because I think he realized that he no longer has to pay Jaqen Hagar, because he paid him to kill Ned Stark, but Ned Stark's going to die anyway. So like he's basically just saved money. I don't know if he paid up front or anything like that.
Wow.
But I thought that was hilarious, because like he's like, I don't have to pay the faceless men anymore. Joffrey's doing what I wanted to anyway.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. So
I think that's a pretty interesting theory.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be revealed in the books. Littlefinger is still around in the books and stuff like that. I think that they're going to reveal it. They never did in the show because the writers were terrible at the end. But I do think that Littlefinger contracted to kill Ned. But that's my theory.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think it holds water from what I know, you know.
Yeah, and you'll never know in the show, but like I said, if the sixth book ever comes out, maybe it'll be in there, because I like that. Like I said, I do, like, Littlefinger had the motivation, he had the means to do it. Like the only person really, I guess, like Varys had the money, but he didn't really have the motivation. In fact, he kept seeing Ned. That was one of the other things I was going to ask you. Do you still have any idea how Varys is able to see Ned Stark all those times? Westeros' number one most wanted man. And you just kept seeing him like willingly.
Yeah. Do you think what's his name was changing his face? No, I guess not, because he can only do it with people he killed, right?
Yeah. This they don't reveal in the show either, but they do reveal in the books. This twist. It's pretty cool. Well, something to think about. Another thing to think about. Here's something that you could think about. Maybe you can answer this time. So one of the scenes I thought was really cool was when Tyrion goes to meet with Tywin, And then that was the whole scene where Tywin basically says, he says why he hates his son because his wife died. Joanna Lannister is his name. She died in childbirth, and he loved her. He never remarried because he was so in love with her. So he always blamed Tyrion for her death, and so he was just not going to give the family land to him. It was just a great scene, but I don't know if you noticed the entire time Tywin is writing something, and maybe you can try to
seal like on the envelope or something.
Yeah, try to maybe theorize what Tywin is writing, because they really emphasize that, like who is he writing to? Like what do you think he's doing? Just something. I wouldn't expect you to answer that now, but like something to think about,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Geez, I'm not sure. You don't think a Raven's going to take that one?
Well, if it's really important, I imagine he's going to get one of his guys to to deliver it themselves,
Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind. That's a good point.
Okay.
I definitely did notice that because I thought the color of like that seal or whatever he put on, I thought like the mold was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's I mean he's definitely has some. It's very, very important what he's writing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's something to think about.
Right.
Outside of that, I don't really have anything else here from my observations, but I thought it's still the golden age of Game of Thrones, what we're watching right now. It's incredible acting, great storytelling. It'll start to decline a little bit in season 5, and a little bit more in season 6, but then there's a colossal drop off in season 7. So as I always say, Battle of the Bastards, season 6, episode 9, and then the next one. That next episode, season 6, episode 10, is the reveal of who Jon Snow's mother is. That's like the real last scene of the real Game of Thrones. So that's the last thing you're gonna watch.
The real Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's whatever the final 2 seasons were, they were an imposter. So yeah. Yeah.
As per your wishes, I won't watch them. Okay. Plus 11.
Yeah, he's talking about Packers win total. He says 11. So you said 10.5, so it's 11 apparently.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe you can find 10.5 somewhere. But yeah, we'll do that next time if there happen to be lines for it. But yeah, I guess that's about it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching and commenting. Really appreciate it,
everyone.
Yeah, thank you, especially to Slew for the 555. Slew, awesome as always, just incredible. And again, thank you so much, everyone. We'll be back on Tuesday with Jacob. We're going to be talking PGA Championship because the next major is coming up next weekend. And so I want to do that for every major. It's the summer. Can't talk about football every day. We're going to do our DFS picks, our betting picks for the PGA Championship. Going to hopefully have Butters and Nuggets on again, and Jacob as well. I love that the quartet that we had. I think we had some good ideas for the Masters, and just try to run it back with the PGA Championship. So going to do that Wednesday with Kenny, and then Thursday, Saturday we'll figure it out. Tom will be on at least one day. So looking forward to that. Yeah, looking forward to that. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store, or buy my book on Amazon. It is Jerks of the College Years. Tom, do you have anything to plug? Maybe your Twitch channel here.
Yeah, I'll be doing Twitch again. Maybe like in about 15 or 20 minutes. But
yes.
Yeah, we're starting to pick up. I'm starting to pick up my following because I'm done streaming on TikTok. I just had enough. I mean, I knew eventually I was going to be done, but here I am. But I like the Twitch streams better. I've been playing Rocket League. I did some Batman Arkham Asylum last night, but I really love Rocket League. I know a few. Walter, of course, has been there many times. John Sanders, I know, has come by. Would love to see you out there. Just a lot of banter and some decent gameplay. So appreciate the support, everybody.
Yeah, check out Tom's stream. I'll retweet it when it goes live. I'll hop in and comment a bit. But yeah, always that Rocket League game reminds me of Blitzball from Final Fantasy X. I know I know you're not familiar with it, but I love Final Fantasy X. The Blitzball was like so iconic. So it kind of reminds me of that. Like if you watch like a YouTube clip of it, like the graphics are obviously way behind because it was 2000.
Right.
But it seemed kind of similar. So Anyway, once again, guys, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a great rest of the weekend. And Tom, as always, great doing the show with you. And I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bye.